Venetta and Hannibal sat down to dinner with Lady Pagny, during the course of which they would be visited not only by her ladyship's father, but also the rogue inquisitor Felroth Gelt, speaking through a proxy. Back in the mansion, Canny headed into the bar, finding the Syrian twins chatting with Vasquez, Light, Eric, and Jarek. The guardsmen were swapping war stories, silly ones, mostly. Tales of the ridiculousness of war, the lighter side, the unbelievable moments, the blind luck, the I'm not quite sure how it happened, but it did kind of stories. It was the done thing, Ferinus said, after a brush with death among the Brontian Longknives, his former regiment. The soldiers greeted Canny as a brother, asked them to join him. He grabbed a drink. He put his tricorn hat on Jeeves. The servitor butler looked most dashing in it, like he was born to wear it. They spoke of the demon, Speyer, Canny and these soldiers. It seemed, Ferinus said, to be weaker each time he faced it. First on Laskin, dressed in the meat suit of Seraph. It had killed 8 stormtroopers and a couple of inquisitorial personnel, not to mention the 200 and something people it had massacred prior to Mesmeron's team catching up with it. The second time was in the Church of Flesh, here on Desalium. It had almost killed Trantia, Spring, and Gaius. In the Carnival, the third time, it had wielded powers that tore through the guardsmen, almost felling Light. In fact, no, it had killed Light. Some of you had seen his head explode in a fountain of blood, and yet he still walks somehow. Ferinus was wondering, was the demon weaker each time? It killed less each time? And have you seen the last of it? Why does it keep coming back? Titulus told a tale of the last fight against the demon Speyer, how Canny had ripped the spine from the heretic Somnus Halbrel, who had turned up during the battle in the Church of Flesh, seemingly unconnected to the demon. This impressed Jarek. Although, was he really impressed? His lack of facial expression and the fact he never speaks, other than with a monotone synthesized voice through the vox, makes it difficult to tell what the naval trooper is feeling. This man who has been sent here as your babysitter to watch over you, to prevent further incursions into the mansion. Canny had a little moment during all this reminiscing. He had a vision of seeing his colleagues dripping with blood, maiming themselves, tearing skin from their own faces. He saw Jarek pulling out his own still beating heart. Ferinus's eye fell out. There were maggots in the socket, and there was blood everywhere. But then reality reasserted itself. Maybe it was time to lay off the Obscura, thought Canny. Slab, meanwhile, was sitting on the stairs in the foyer, and he turned at the sound of footsteps descending towards him, seeing 2 women there. Missy, the housekeeper, and Inquisitor Antonia Mesmeron. Only it wasn't Mesmeron. It was a trick. It was Spring, all dolled up, fancy wig, white powdered face, false eyelashes precariously clinging to her eyelids. Slab hasn't seen Mesmeron in quite some time. He's been asleep, you see, after he was used as a punch bag for the Seraph Speyer thing a few years back. He was confined in a tank in suspended animation for some reason. I'm sure it's a perfectly good reason. It's a good job you've let him out, though. He was most instrumental in the more recent fight against the demon in the carnival. "Stop!" he yelled, slamming the demon host's latest form with a literal stop sign. Because in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there is only slapstick. Spring told Slab that little Tommy, the son of the housekeeper, had told her that he was concerned he and his mother might not be allowed to live here in the mansion anymore, now that Lady Machenko was gone. There was no longer a lady of the house, he said. He didn't know what would become of the mansion, and so Spring theorized that if she became the lady of the house, then the house would still be a home to Tommy and his mother, because Spring's logic is often flawed like this. She doesn't understand how things work, and yet sometimes she instinctively understands how things work with no effort at all. Missy had humoured Spring, helped her with her hair and makeup to make her look more ladylike, and Spring had broken into the Inquisitor's room, helped herself to one of Lady Machenko's finest dresses. But does Spring really understand what Thomas meant when he said there was no longer a lady of the house? Spring thinks he means that the Inquisitor has gone away temporarily, returned to Scintilla. But this is not true. Antonia Machenko, I apologize, Inquisitor Mesmeron, is no more. She is dead. She has passed on. She has ceased to be. She is expired, gone to meet her maker. Her metabolic processes are now history. But Spring doesn't know that. None of you know that. But Thomas. Does Thomas know that? Hang on a minute. How did Thomas tell Spring this? Thomas does not speak. Thomas is mute. All he does is make gurgling noises and point at things. The closest he has ever come to communication is that time he gave Siegfried that bullet, that strange bullet, marked with very unusual runes. And so, dressed as a lady of the Scintillan nobility, Spring dragged Slab to the bar, and Missy brought Slab his own powdered wig, so that Slab too could be a lady of the house. As I said before, after the hallucination, shall we call it a hallucination? Yes, let's call it a hallucination. It couldn't be real. After the hallucination, Canny was starting to think it was time to lay off Pench's stuff. Things were getting weird for the pit fighter lately, and he slipped his stash into the purse of Spring, telling her to keep hold of it for him. She nodded. Of course she would, she said. Unbeknown to Canny, her own nimble fingers crept into his pockets in return. She just can't help herself, that girl. Corell spotted this, but said nothing. What a copper he is. Instead, he complimented Spring's attire, saying she looked nice, making her blush. Slab glared at the copper. Canny told the Arbite to watch it, and then lectured Spring about the copper's intentions, and said she should stop flirting with him. Spring got all embarrassed. She didn't know what Canny meant. Flirting? What's that? She ran off, returning 10 minutes later, changed back into her more regular attire. And then it was back to war stories. Ferinus and Tichilos told tales of fighting metal men that they called Necrons. Eric mentioned accidentally bringing down an enemy aircraft with a heavy bolter on the world of Tranche once. "What is it about Tranche?" asked Canny. "It keeps coming up. Keeps getting mentioned a lot." "A world perpetually at war," said Vasquez. And she said, after their victory there, several years ago, she and the others of her regiment had been recruited into the Inquisition, along with their captain, Vornus Crimson, King Crimson, as he is now known. And they had been brought here to Decilium about 10 years ago, and they had performed some weird Black Ops missions involving kidnapping nobles and then returning them home unharmed a few days later after their master had finished with them. And then, a few months after that, they had just been abandoned here, left behind by the Inquisitor they served. "Who was he?" asked Corell. "Who was this Inquisitor you served?" Of course, it shouldn't have surprised anyone to hear the answer. Inquisitor Felroth Gelt. There was a tense few moments. Weapons were drawn, but Vasquez and her team are not your enemies. They have been abandoned here on this world by Gelt, which I suppose you have in common with them now. They had no idea that you sought that man until now, until this moment. They didn't even know he was a wanted man. They had mentioned before, when first you revealed to King Crimson, back in Gantry, that you were agents of the Left Hand, that they too had once served in Inquisition. They had never kept this information secret from you. You just never bothered to ask them who they served. Until now. Gelt used these soldiers to kidnap nobles from 7 of the 8 major houses: Gotha, Romana, Kotraman, Eldon, Constant, Grimsalern, and Dashur. But they never took anyone from House Rosa. Carell went into investigation mode, quizzing the soldiers further. Canny brought forth Otto's research that he has been sat on for weeks. The junior Arbeit began to peruse it all, assembling an evidence board. Otto had gathered such a vast amount of data on House Rosa from the Decilium archives during his time posing as a member of the Administratum, but it died down in Gantry before he could analyse it all. Down in the depths of the city, among the heretics, and the mutants, and the dead. He didn't belong down there. He was a pasty-faced nerd with a crooked spine and a penchant for Xenos pornography. What was he doing down there? Why? Why was he taken from us so early? So young? He had his whole life in front of him. Some said that he was the best of you all. They were wrong, of course. The evidence board was assembled, Spring, Canny and Slab assisting Junior Arbiter Carell Hathard as he went into full-on conspiracy mode, connecting the dots, untangling the web to find the spider at its centre, and then he found it. House Rosa's rise to power had begun 30 years ago, shortly after a series of industrial failures in the production lines of the other great houses. Each time the story was the same, mechanical failure, workers refusing to turn in for their shifts, claiming places were haunted. The great houses were failing to meet the heavy tithes imposed on them by the Adaptus Terra, and they would go punished accordingly. And so Lady Ord Killian, the planetary governor, had reached out to the largest of the minor houses for aid, House Rosa, and they picked up the slack created by the great house's drop in production. But the curious thing about all this was it seemed that none of the great houses had ever been punished for their failings. None of those failed factorums had ever been reopened. A prime example was, of course, Work Plant 00 Alpha 5, also known as the Shattered Foundry, where you found Alyssa. This former LAS focusing array production line had been repurposed, refitted, to create servitors fitted with strange non-standard MIU devices, and had been entirely automated, controlled by the abominable intelligence Alyssa. Records indicated that power was still being drawn to the other failed factorums across the city. Were there others out there, like Alyssa? Out there in Hive Decilium Primus? And while these corrupt factorums built whatever it was they built, House Rosa had profited, and their fortune had grown and grown, as did their place in Hive Decilium society, as did their spire. And Spire Rosa now stretches into the clouds along with the other 7 great houses. Pouring through all the data Otto had gathered, mountains of it, spanning around 30 years of financial records and administratum data, Carell pieced together that all of this seemed to begin shortly after the marriage of Lady Olivia Rosa, heir to the Rosa fortune, to an off-world noble, Lord Perseon Hargrove of Fenxworld. And Fenxworld, of course, is a popular world used as cover by inquisitorial agents. It's where Siegfried and Trantia's false identification claims they hail from. Carell leafed through the mountains of Picts found in Otto's files, images of tithe agreement ceremonies, public openings of new factorums, countless other public functions, even the wedding of Lady Olivia Rosa to her off-world suitor. And in each of the Picts, he was there, this man, this Lord Perseon Hargrove of Fenxworld, and he was a man that Carell recognised, for he had led the defence of the Purity Gate when the dead stormed the gallows way. He had he had rallied the defenders to his side. His name then had been General Calcior Delaney. And so these two men, Calcior Delaney and Perseon Hargrove, were one and the same. General Delaney had wielded an ornate bolt pistol as he barked his orders, holding the thin red line of sanctuary bondsmen together as the dead stormed the gate over and over again. And when the pistol ran dry, he had discarded it, taking up a las rifle. And he had left the bolt pistol behind. It had been recovered by a sanctuary, given to Carell, who offered to find General Delaney, return the weapon to him. Carell found the bolt pistol amongst his belongings. There was an inscription on the gold-chased casing that he had never bothered to read. Until now. To FG, it read, "My eternal thanks. You always seem to be in the right place at the right time. May the Emperor forever watch over you. S.A. FG. In the files of Inquisitor Antonio Mesmeron, in the open library, which all can access and yet few do, there are a wide variety of files. Among them are files on the Calexis sector's most wanted heretics, and sitting at number 1 on that list is the former Inquisitor Felroth Gelt. FG. And in those files there are pics of him. Carell found those pics. Inquisitor Felroth Gelt, General Calcior Delaney, and Lord Perseon Hargrove, husband to the head of House Rosa, are all the same man. But who was S.A., the person who had gifted this bolt pistol to Gelt? Staven Arcturus, perhaps? Mesmeron's former mentor, who had been killed by Gelt a decade ago, and if rumours were to be believed, he had also been her lover. Some even said they had wed in secret. Naughty, naughty! Such things are forbidden within the Holy Ordos. Fortunately, psykers are neutered during their sanctioning. The chance of a psyker spawning another of their kind is dangerously high, and often the madness and wild lack of self-control such creatures are known for grows from generation to generation. So if two psykers were to breed, well, their offspring would be... well, what would their offspring be? But it's irrelevant, because as sanctioned psykers, inquisitors no less, Mesmeron and Arcturus may have been lovers, but they could never have brought forth a child into this world. Could they? Regardless, this was not Inquisition business, Carell decided. It never had been. None of it, this hunt for Gelt. It was about bringing him to justice for the death of Antonio Mesmeron's lover. It was a vendetta, plain and simple. "You're all just blind weapons," said Canny. Attempts were made to contact Gaius, Vineta and the others. They must know what you have learned, but the comms were not working. Alyssa had become disconnected from Hive Decilium's Vox network. She wanted to play a game. She seemed to be malfunctioning a little, and something was off with her. Carell convinced Ted and Zelda to take a look at Alyssa, although it wasn't really their area of expertise. Ted was great with xenotech, sure, but an abominable intelligence? A machine spirit made from the psyche of a mentally disturbed child trapped in a factorum from almost 3 decades, forced to make servitors against her will? That's a little out of his wheelhouse. And Zelda's a bookworm, not a tech head. She's smart, but she's no tech priest, no engineer. She's not exactly Cyric Scale, is she? Canny gave Zelda some stims, and Spring gave her some pills to help her focus, to work through the night, so she could learn how to fix Alyssa faster. She estimated it might take her a few years to learn the basics of abominable intelligence engineering, but she is a compulsive learner, so she'll get right on it. Canny decided he had maybe misjudged Carell. He was all right for a copper. He confessed to the junior arbiter that he was not well, and he made the arbiter swear an oath to protect Spring, because he might not always be around to do it himself. Ted worked into the night, trying to figure out how to reconnect Alyssa to the Decilium Vox network. Zelda began to learn the basics of abominable intelligence from some forbidden naughty files in the library, and the rest of you slept. And Canny had a dream in which he had to make a choice between 3 women. His best girl, Vineta, a large, wibbly-wobbly, flabby woman who looked vaguely like someone from the carnival, only she was rotten and reeked of decay, and Seraph, the dancer, acrobat turned assassin. And Canny chose his oldest friend, the only one who understands who he is, what he is, and perhaps what he will become. For they have shared many moments in their lives together. Most important of all, perhaps, was their slaughter of their friends, the Carney folk, their family.
It was a kindness.
It was a kindness. I'll be back in a moment.
Where did she get? A real crave for a cup of tea, actually. I'll be right back.
Right. Okie dokie. Here we go. Ted. Hey, oh, wee dirty Sassenach. For the past 10 days, you have been working on the combat servitor that you dragged back from the mountain facility. It's dead, technically speaking. The brain has long ceased to function, but you have repaired the mechanical working parts as best you can, and the fleshy parts have been preserved. The mindless body stands in your workshop, hooked up to a series of devices which pump life-preserving fluids around its remaining meat, like a heart does with blood, but it is useless until you find a replacement brain, or perhaps something akin to a working brain. Its skull is empty. The grey matter has been scooped out. It is an empty vessel. Today, however, you have not spent time working on the servitor. Today, you headed out with the other eclectic mix of people here in this mansion. You still aren't exactly sure how or why this huge 5-story house is hidden inside a wooden shack backing onto a carnival full of mutants in a cavern, deep below the city. What you do know is that these people have given you a workshop, tools, resources, and have expressed an interest in hunting down the man who enslaved you, Cyrix Scale. And today they ask for your help to hunt down someone or something named Speyer. And you went into that fight blind. No one had told you what you were getting into. Speyer was not a person. Well, kind of, sort of was a person. It was a demon, they said. Such things were just stories, right? Intended to scare children and bad people into being pious and true. No, it was real, it seems. And these people hunt them and other things that would bring ruination to the Omnissiah's realm. And they have asked you to help them in this task. But how can Ted help? Besides clobbering demons, of course. Ted is a skilled individual. He has some experience with xenotech, unusual technology. He's smart. He's good with his hands. He's learned that the nature of this mansion is odd. And he has become aware of the presence in this mansion. Alyssa, it calls itself. The others talk to it like a person, and it speaks back. And it has spoken to Ted. Would you like to play a game? Ted knows this Alyssa can manipulate the mansion and the equipment within the mansion. He knows the presence can be accessed via the heretical mind impulse units, such as the one he was fitted with back in the mountain. He has learned of the presence of a secret place, a place where secrets are kept. Secrets he suspects this presence would like revealing. And Ted thinks he knows what this presence is. He has had an idea. A way to access these secrets. A safer way than the xenotech crystal MIU he has had removed from his head. But first he must learn. He must study. And he must be careful. The first step is to understand what is going on. The following is based on the roles I asked for you yesterday, James. In your workshop, you glance around at the equipment here. It's not as sophisticated or as high-tech as Venetta's larger workshop, but it's the best you've ever had access to, and it's all yours. There's a power lathe here, over on the far wall. A standard Mechanicus piece of gear. Power cables snake out of the machine and into the wall. There's a generator down in the basement. It seems reasonable those cables head there. There is zero gap between the wall and the cables. The workmanship is perfection. Whoever installed those cables into the wooden walls must have been a master craftsman. You glance at the light fittings. Again, they are fitted perfectly. There's a Vox relay on the wall, a device that acts as an in-house intercom and also as a transmitter receiver for the comm beads you and the others carry. You note the precision with which the power cable for that unit passes seamlessly into the wall. Power cables. No other cables. There's no communication cable between that machine and anything else. Perhaps it's noospheric, you think. A wireless communication booster. There's no sign of the usual transmitter-receiver array such tech would require. And such a thing would be most unsightly in a mansion such as this. Perhaps the transmitter-receiver is internal, hidden away inside the device. Before you complete that thought, the tools are already in your hands, unscrewing the fastenings of the comm relay, the Plastech cover which slides over to one side, revealing familiar components, switches, cabling, a Vox speaker, a pickup, all nestled alongside something else that does not belong within such a device. A thin spike, a shard of bluish crystal. This is not standard Imperial technology. It bears a striking resemblance to the crystal lattice within the MIU you had removed from your head. On a hunch, you wander off down the corridor towards Vinetta's workshop. She has a powerful cogitator there. It too has power cables fitted to perfection through the walls of the mansion, but no data cabling. Nothing to connect it to anything else in the mansion. You think better of tampering with Vinetta's equipment. And you head upstairs to the librarium, and then into the infirmary, where Dr. Pench keeps a cogitator terminal. The same incredibly neat power cables, and nothing more. This terminal, you realize, is a remote, dumb terminal. It connects to the mansion's central cogitator, but there are no cables with which it can do so. No sign of a noospheric connection device. You pry off the little panel in the side and see once again the small sliver of bluish crystal. You return to the basement. Across the corridor from Vinetta's workshop, there is a large room with an archaic-looking generator which feeds power to the mansion's systems. It's imperial in design, old, ancient, perhaps. There is no obvious fuel source, no promethium tank nor plasma chamber. It's a curiosity indeed. There is also a cogitator core here, and a powerful Vox array, and while there are all the cables and pipes you would expect to connect them to the generator, and even a few data cables connecting them to each other, there are no external data cables that head into any other room. They do not connect to the mansion, and yet you know they do. And you pop open a couple of suspect hatches, glimpsing again more of the odd blue crystals. They pulse with an inner light. This is it, Ted. You know this instinctively. This is how the machinery, equipment, cogitators and Vox systems work within the mansion, how they connect to one another. While they draw power from conventional cables running through the building, their data systems are connected through these crystals. And you begin to understand that this is how Alyssa communicates, how she sees and hears and speaks. She is connected somehow to these crystals. She uses them as Cyric Scale used you. Can she command you, you wonder, if you had not removed the MIU? There's something else here. A large armor-glass cylinder attached to the cogitator and the Vox systems, and you peer at it, seeing the warding runes, pentagrammic and hexagrammic runes etched into the metalwork. Within the thick armor glass, There is a strange, roiling cloud of green. And within that cloud floats a large, teardrop-shaped stone of crimson, about the size of an orange. You feel a pulse of energy, Ted, and frost forms across the armor glass casing and the floor around this device. "Hello, Theodorus," says the voice of a young girl, directly into your mind. "Would you like to play a game?"
What you got in mind, lass?
Oh, let's wait and see. This is her, you realize. This is where she resides. Her mind, her spirit, her consciousness, her echo. Call it whatever you want. It dwells here within this red stone. And from here, via those crystals scattered around the mansion, crystals like the ones that drive the heretical MIUs, she can access the entire mansion. Alyssa is the mansion. Something slides into the exposed data port on the back of your head. You sit on a blanket on a grassy hill beneath a leafy tree which sways gently in an unfelt breeze. Opposite you, propped against a picnic basket, sits a somewhat ragged one-eyed doll made of cloth. Its ears, you note, are finely pointed. Next to it, there is a curious stuffed toy fashioned with a dark hooded cloak which obscures its features. A young girl, perhaps 12 or 13 years old, dressed in a simple but well-made dress, pours tea from a pot into the cup before you. "Hello, Theodorus," she says. She glances at the doll and the stuffed toy. "Don't mind them. They can't hear us." "You want to know how it works, don't you, Theodorus? You want to understand what this place is and the secrets it holds. Well, I can't tell you everything, but I can show you where to begin looking. I can show you the basics of how it works. I think we can be friends, Theodorus. I think you might be my favorite." And she shows you. She shows you how she wills the pathways between the crystals open. She shows you how she sees and hears all that goes on here. She shows you the others. Now, Carell, Canny, Spring and Slab leafing through reams of paperwork that Canny has pulled from his pack. She shows you the entrance to the labyrinth, and you feel her fear at the sound of something terrible bellowing within its corridors. She wants to let you in. She wants to open the doors for you, but she can't, because the bitch queen won't fucking let her. She shows you a face. The face of the bitch queen. And you've seen her likeness before in a portrait at the top of the grand staircase. Her name is Antonia. But you can save her. You can save Alyssa. You can free her from the bitch queen and the Minotaur that lives within the labyrinth. You just need to open the doors, and she will show you such things, Ted. Such secrets, such knowledge can be yours if you will just free her from her tormentors. She gives you the knowledge. The knowledge to connect things to the mansion. The skills to work with this Xenos technology and other things. She gives this technology a name. She names the species that created it. She shows you everything about how the mansion works, and then she takes it all away from you and holds it just out of reach. It can all be yours, Ted. I just want one thing in return. And she shows you what she wants. And I'm going to send you a message in Facebook Messenger, James.
Okay. Ooh. You want us over there. Not go.
Please, Ted. Please, we can be friends. You're my favorite.
Okay, cool. Let's go build her a Wi-Fi port to this service of them.
Okay. She smiles. Sitting there on the blanket beneath the tree on the grassy hill, she smiles. Thank you, Ted. You are my favorite. She disconnects you, and you see a thin mechadendrite snaking out of the back of your head, drift away, coiling up with the tangle of cables on the floor of this room. You're back in the mansion, and you have made a bargain with Alyssa. Don't go back on a bargain with Alyssa, Ted. Shortly after this moment where, excuse me, shortly after this moment in which you have agreed to make a bargain with Alyssa.
Why did you do that?
She showed him everything he wanted to know and then took it all away. And then asked him for something and he's agreed to it.
Ollie.
Shortly after this this moment...
Who installed the AI in this fucking house? That's fucking bully. He'd bring that shit home like a stray fucking cat. Jesus Christ. Anyway. Bring that shit home, may as well fucking use it.
Shortly after you make this agreement with Alyssa and you are disconnected, Corell's voice comes to you over the Vox, and he bizarrely asks you to take a look at Alyssa. He tells you she seems to have gone offline. Communication with the mansion has ceased to function. You agree to do so, even though it's a little out of your area of expertise, because you can't help wonder if the reason she's gone offline might be something to do with what just happened. Was it something to do with you, Ted? Has your discovery of Alyssa somehow affected her ability or a willingness to contact the outside world? Was it something you said? You're so very tired, Ted. You glance at the chrono, and by the Omnisci, you've been down here for hours, communing with Alyssa. You try to investigate what's going on with Alyssa, as you promised, Corell, but your knowledge of such systems is limited. It hadn't been a few moments ago, or hours ago. It's hard to tell. She teased you with the knowledge and then took it away again. You know what you must do, Ted, to gain that knowledge. But not now, Ted, because you are so very, very tired. And you sleep in your room. Night comes and goes, to be replaced by morning. Canny has a dream in which he makes a choice. And now we are in the present. I've got the driest piece of chicken ever in front of me.
We'll have that fit in some mayonnaise, Dave.
I intended to make some garlic mayonnaise, but then I forgot. Okay, right.
Dip it in a cup of tea like a good Brit.
Chicken and tea.
Classic, I guess. Is that what you do down south, is it? Over Dave. Dip chicken in tea, eh?
Everything in tea. Even coffee.
I'm going to dip my coffee in tea. I've just realised I don't know where Ted sleeps. Oh, yes, I do. He sleeps here.
The bin.
Let's put him.
In the bin.
In a very short bed.
He's got a child's bed.
In a dog bed.
Okay.
To make even.
Canny. Everyone should be able to see the map right now. The second floor of the mansion. You should all be able to find your beds, with the exception of Slab, who is not sleeping in his own bed.
I can see blackness.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I can see, but obviously I've got a token. I'll just get my room.
You might have to find your token.
There's
Okay. Jesus Christ, this is hard work. Lesson learned, it does not take 25 minutes to cook that chicken. Canny, you awaken and you feel, oh, you don't feel good, Canny. You don't feel good at all. You feel like you can't breathe. You begin to choke. There's something stuck, Canny, something lodged in your throat, and you retch. You try to get up from your bed, but you cough and you spasm and you fall hard, slamming into the polished wooden floor, which splinters under the impact, the bulk and sheer weight of you. I'd like you to make an awareness test, please, at +10, Canny. Oof, Jesus Christ. The floor is wrong. Through the tears and the misty-eyed vision brought on by your violent coughing fit, you see the wooden fragments of the shattered floor ripple and blur beneath you and turn the colour of bleached bone. And there is a hole now. A hole in the floor where you fell. It's small, perhaps 5 or 6 centimetres wide, and through the hole you see nothing. An absence of anything. Not just darkness or the floor below. It would probably give you much more concern, and you might take a closer look at it if you weren't currently fighting for your life. You cough and splutter as you force yourself onto your hands and knees. Your throat bulges as you choke once more. Your eyes bulge in their sockets as a thick, gloopy substance like tar spills out of your nose and your mouth. It pools on the floor beneath you, running into the hole in the mansion's floor as you retch and heave, and then with an almighty belching noise, you bring forth a large glob of greenish stuff that rides the wave of filth emerging from you and splatters onto the floor. The relief is immediate. You feel like you can breathe properly for the first time in a week. And that weakness you felt since you were down Hive is gone. You feel strong. You feel hungry. You feel good. The lump on the floor before you rolls over and opens its eyes and peers up at you. Its mouth slits open in a wide grin, revealing razor-sharp, tiny teeth and a lolling tongue. It giggles as it wobbles itself to its feet, and it begins to run for the hole in the floor. What are you doing?
I'd like to. Oh, I don't know. I'd like to quick draw, if I can, the specimen jar
Okay.
given to me at that moment and try and put the jar over the fleeing creature.
Okay. How should we do this?
It's non-standard, Dave.
It is non-standard. Let's do it as... I'm going to ask for 2 rolls. I want a weapon skill based roll. And I want it with... Let me think about this. It's up to you how you do this. You can do this as a standard attack, or you can do this as an all-out attack.
Yeah, I'll put everything into it, Dave.
Okay.
I don't want to sort of fucking away.
All right.
He's piqued my interest.
All right. I'm going to try to dodge for this little fella. Nope. He tries to nimbly dodge aside, but you slam the jar down on top of him. He kind of only just fits. He kind of squidges into it and almost fills the entirety of the specimen jar. It forces him out of shape into like a cylindrical shape. And one eye is huge, pressed up against the glass. He squeaks. Give me an agility roll as you try and get the top back on. Okay, you manage to get the top back on. He's got one little sort of gribbly foot sticking out the jar. You manage to push it back into the jar and screw the top on without any harm coming to it. And you peer at this creature, and it's wedged into this jar or squished up against the glass, and it's just going just flipping you off. And you can hear in its tiny voice yelling, "Fuck you, fatty! Fuck you!" So you can now add to your inventory specimen jar containing a nurgling.
Oh, fantastic. Contains nurgling.
Yep.
Fantastic. Better out than in, they say. Okay,
In addition,
inventory updated.
you no longer have any of the negative modifiers that you had to your character. Quite the opposite, in fact. You have a special ability, which I think I haven't transferred from my hard drive. It probably won't come into play tonight anyway. You gain +5 strength to your original stat. Also, you have special abilities that can be powered by fate points, which I'll put on your character sheet for next time. And these give you like an enhanced charge. And also, there's like it's like you use a fate point to give you an enhanced charge, or you can burn a fate point to do absolutely fucking ridiculous damage in the name of he who sits upon the throne of brass. I'm just going to grab a drink. So everyone's going to be getting little power-ups. Now we're into Act 4. That's Canny's. Gaius has got his, obviously.
I'm not certain what my original stats were. I think strength was 50. I'm not sure what my toughness was. I think it might be 49.
Yep.
I'm not sure.
That's what it is.
49.
Yep, 50 and 49. So you've technically got strength 55 now.
Huh?
And I can't remember the wording of the buff, but it becomes 60 when you charge. So you basically get +1 damage on a charge. And then there's also this ability where you can use your fate points to make that even more deadly.
Neat.
Okay, right. Morning comes to the rest of the mansion too. Got to skip a big chunk here because it's Carell's bit. I'll pretend Johnny's here. He's here, honest. Okay. When it comes to the rest of the mansion, I would like everyone, please, to make an awareness check. The modifier is different for each of you. Actually, Slab, you don't need to make it. But I would like... Light can make one. At +20, James. Canny, you just get a normal awareness roll, no pluses to it. And Ted at +10. I don't know what I've done with my notebook. I've pre-rolled a lot of the other characters that are on this floor. Where's that? Why is that not working? There we go. Right. Was the first one Light and the second one Ted?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that's just a fail for Light, and just a pass for Ted, and Canny, a pass. Cool. That makes things much easier to deal with. Ted and Canny, as you're both sort of awakening, Canny, you've just finished retching, you've caught this thing. Ted, you're maybe just giving a little stretch as you start to rise out of bed. You both hear a scream, a high-pitched scream of absolute terror, coming from somewhere nearby. Canny, you're acutely aware of where it's coming from and whose voice it is. It's Spring's voice.
Okay. I'm going to leave the Nurgling in a jar here in my room for the time being, and I'm going to run as fast as I can towards Spring.
Okay. Ted, are you?
Where I think maybe.
Okay. You do know which is Spring's room, by the way. So, Ted, are you...
I'll pop some adrenaline as well to go a bit faster.
Cool. Ted, are you doing anything?
Yeah, Ted's going as well. Grab
Okay.
a camera and jog over.
Right, okay. I'm going to move you boys on the map slightly. Just got to find Canny. There he is. Who else heard? I pre-rolled all this. So, Ferinus emerges from his room about the same time. Yes. Yes. I remember what I rolled here. It's goddamn flying here! Alright, so you guys are running towards Spring's room. Slab, this is the reason you don't need to roll for it. You definitely hear it, this high-pitched shriek of terror, because it's coming from the room in which you spent the night. It wakes you up from your position on the simple mattress that you've set up in the corner of Spring's room. In the absence of Vanetta, it seems that Slab has found himself a new little buddy, a new figure who he must protect at all costs. Spring scrambles out of her bed, Slab, and you watch her get tangled up in the sheets as she goes, throwing herself off the mattress into the corner of the room. And she screams and she screams, her eyes wide in fear. And she's trying to hide behind her hands from the object of her terror, which appears to be the window over here, which looks out onto the balcony.
Are there any curtains in front of the window?
No. There's also nothing visible outside the window. It's this bizarre void of nothingness.
Wait, those and years in the future, fucking cartons.
In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there are no curtains.
No.
I'm going to drag my mattress over to the window and put it up against it.
Okay. She's sort of hyperventilating. She notices you move into her path. Her eyes are still wide with fear. She doesn't seem to be responding, although she does seem to be slowly coming round. She seems to be looking around the room and taking in the familiar sights of the bed and the wardrobe and the little desk she has. Fair
And
enough.
once I've got the mattress up against the window, I'm going to turn my little fishy nightlight on, throw it on the bed.
You reach into your pack and notice your fishy nightlight is not there. I'd like you to make an awareness test, please, Slab. Give it, it'll be awareness at plus 20, please. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Slab, your favourite source of illumination, the thing that keeps you safe in the dark places, has disappeared from your bag.
Start screaming myself.
Okay, out in the corridor, Canny, Ferinus, and Ted running along towards the sound of the shrieking. You hear a second scream, surprisingly high-pitched, I like to think. Maybe it's because of the powdered wig that you were wearing last night. But you hear this second scream join in with Spring's scream as you reach the door to Spring's room. What are you doing?
Draw my cleaver.
Okay.
Get into battle stance. Where's the how close did you say?
You're right outside. You should be able to see on the map now. You're right outside the door. Spring's room is the room to the north of your current position.
I will just batter my way through.
All right. Give me a strength test, actually, if you're going to batter your way through this door.
This is probably a perfect opportunity to use my
Exactly.
new, toy. So I'll use a fate point. So
Okay, yeah. It's not how I intended it to be used, but sure.
oh, okay.
No, that's fine. I was going to say, if you use it as a strength test instead of an attack, you get a plus 20.
Ah, cool. Right.
So yeah,
Cool. Yeah, that's the pass then.
yeah, so you smash into the door, and I'd like everyone to make an awareness test, please, as Canny does this. I'm going to open the door for you.
Everyone, or just the people in it?
Everyone in that area. So Ted, yeah, leave Light alone for now. Light's going to be out of it for most of this game. He might make an appearance here and there, but mostly just worry about Ted tonight. Okay. Canny, you can make one as well, please. Okay. The door splinters, showering the inside of the room with fragments of itself. And as you burst into the room, Canny, and Ted, you're just behind him. Ferinus is just behind you. You see Slab and Spring in the corner of the room. And Slab has got hold of Spring. He's hugging her tight and rocking backwards and forwards, and he's screaming. You're fairly certain it was Spring screaming at first, but now it just is Slab. And Spring is quite calmly just stroking Slab's head and going, there, buddy. It's all right. Calm down. What's the matter? What's the matter, big fella? It's over to you guys.
I'm gonna look around. I'm looking for the threat. Looking for what's set this all off.
Okay, you see the mattress piled up against the window.
That's unusual, right?
Yep.
I'll head that way then. And I'll say, "What the fuck's going on here?"
Oh.
Someone fucking answer! What's going on? Are we under attack? Is it PowerPoint again?
PowerPoint.
Pressure point. That's exactly it. That's a great one. I like that one.
Being attacked by a spreadsheet. Oh, can you give me an awareness test, please, Canny?
They're going to slide past the window, pigs.
Just static images just keep going past the window. It's PowerPoint. Big yellow arrows pointing to obvious fucking bullet points.
I'll use a reroll, Dave.
Giant paper clip wandering around.
Well, someone used the bloody clippy emoji at me the other day.
Fucking.
I've never ever seen it used. It was like,
Didn't even know there was one.
It's an old code, but it checks out. No, neither did I. That's it. Just thought, what the fuck are you playing at there, mate? I just said I've never seen that one used, but I've never seen that one deployed before. Unusual choice of an emoji. There you go. Second awareness roll gives me a.
Your eyes fall out. You don't see anything at all that is remotely unusual about this room. It seems quite normal. Maybe you should leave. No, Spring is trying to calm Slab down. Says, "Is what did you just say, Slab? You said it's dark, didn't you?"
Yeah.
She says, "Turn the lights on, Kenny. Turn the lights on. He's scared of the dark."
All right, I'll.
Makes sleeping quite fun.
Every
Every
time
time
you
I
shut
shut
your
my eyes, I
eyes.
scream.
Ah!
Okay, I'm not talking about fucking hell. I thought this was fucking serious. I'll move over and turn the light switch on.
Okay, turn the lights on.
Yes.
Fucking amateurs.
Oh, hang on a minute. Yeah.
Who was the one who was tortured by the demon Speyer?
That's Seraph. She's not here.
Right.
She's not here right now. Okay, after a few moments, Theranos walks in. And you also hear, Ted, you hear footsteps on the stairs. And a couple more of the soldiers turn up. This Vasquez and Eric turn up. They're like, "What's going on? What's fucking happening? SA? There's Cockney Spaniards." Theranos comes in. He looks over to Spring. He says, "What's up, girl? You were screaming." And she goes, there was a monster." And she points at the window where the mattress is propped up. She says, "There was a monster at the window. Great big thing, huge, with red eyes."
I'll shift the mattress and look outside.
Okay. You peer out into the darkness. There's nothing there. There's nothing at all there. There is a small balcony just outside the window, but there's nothing beyond it. No light, no darkness, nothing. It hurts your brain to try and comprehend exactly what it is you're looking at, or rather not looking at. It's probably best to look away, Kenny.
Get a cluster migraine! Callie's going to move away as his head starts pounding.
Ted's gonna go and look out.
You're going to have a look at it? Give me an awareness test at +10, please.
Ugh, reroll. Don't like that.
It's better than my roll.
There we go.
There's you look out the window, you look around the room. There's nothing unusual. It's very, very similar, almost identical to your room, Ted. It's but mirrored. Everything's on the opposite side of the room. But other than that, it's identical. The bed, the floor, the furniture, everything's the same, except for this large mattress that's been propped up over the window. But there is a few items of decoration that are different. There's some shelves on the wall covered in a very strange assortment of items. There's a single glow lamp there, and they're all arranged in such a way that you get the impression they're being placed there very carefully. There is a glow lamp. There is a copy of the Imperial Infantryman's uplifting primer. There is a small fishy glow lamp that, if turned on, you imagine would beam fish onto the walls as it spins round. There is a broken auto quill. There is a small micro bead with a bit of earwax on it, and there is a Vox grill with some wires hanging out of it. There is also what looks like a snow globe featuring a tiny representation of the carnival that you were fighting in yesterday, the Big Top specifically. The rest of the shelf, though, is covered in this very strange, bone-coloured, rather, powder. At this point as well, Spring's like, "All right, big guy, all right, come on, calm down, put me down. And she seems to be over whatever it is that scared her. The lights are on. Look, everything's bright, everything's shiny, isn't it? It's great.
Oh, I'm not putting her down.
She's
Protected me from the dark.
desperately trying to get away.
When you're holding a cat that you've just fucking bathed and it's fucking trying to claw its way out of your arms. That's what she's doing at the moment.
Hang on a sec. Who was... I just need to check something. Just a second.
Oh, it's this window as well, the one up the north next to the door.
Yeah, the mattress is just there because I moved it from where he was keeping. Let me just check. I need to check the timeline. Respect the timeline, Alan.
I would never put the timeline in jeopardy, Dave. I wouldn't do that.
Right.
Too many unintended consequences.
thing somewhere.
Oh, thing, eh?
I'm trying to think who was there.
Nice.
That's what Canny looked like as a baby.
No, he started off quite normal. Just it's been something he's been working on over a long period of time. His current physique.
That was courtesy of Bing AI image generator, that thing.
Fucking hell, who was it? Who was there?
Was where, Dave?
I'm trying to remember who was there when Spring saw someone at the window before. By
It
a
was, I
Pagny.
thought it wasn't Spring there. It was it was bloody. It wasn't Spring and Tower Pagnic. She's here, right?
It was the main characters.
Well, not the main character. Vanetta was there. Yeah, it was the other party, Dave, who saw it. Tower Pagnic.
Yeah, but Spring was there. That's what I'm trying to get at. Spring was with the other half. I was just wondering if any of the other NPCs were there. I'm just trying to remember. I know it wasn't Canny, Slab, or Ted. I just wondered if anyone else had been there, sort of thing.
I can remember it happening. I know Hannibal was there, but I don't know what other characters were there.
I think it was Hannibal, Siegfried, Gaius, and Trantia were maybe there. I seem to remember. Them three were definitely there. I just wondered if, like, Ferinus was there.
Was he?
Yes, because what happened was, it was when you stayed at Tower Pagny and you started discussing augmetics, to get augmetics, and you convinced Spring to get new legs. And Ferinus and Titulos got matching augmetic kneecaps.
As you do.
Because, that makes sense. So Ferinus was there, actually. Yeah, so Ferinus is going to address Spring and go, "You seeing things at the window again, girl? Was it the same as before?" She nods. Ferinus comes over to the window with Slab and Canny, peers out into the gloom, into the nothing.
Nothing there.
He says, "I don't really know how this place works, but I'm pretty certain no one can, stand on the window ledge and peer in." Spring's still trying to get out of Slab's grip. And she says, "I've seen him many times. He comes to me at night in the brainy picks. Sorry, the dreams. Mezza said I had to call him dreams. You will learn the proper use of the God Emperor's language, young lady." Yeah.
Who's coming here? What dreams?
I don't know. He's like, he's like a night visitor. He turns up and just stares at me through the windows. He used to do it from the dark, back in home. He used to peer through the dark window and like watch me all the time and that. Ferinus pipes up again and says, How long have you been seeing this person? She's you know, always, I guess, like, as long as I can remember, like, back in the dark, before I came here. I've seen him then, in my brain, in my dreams, sorry. And sometimes he's there when I wake up, just watching. He likes to watch. He doesn't stay long, he normally buggers off.
You used to live on a ship, didn't you?
In the dark, yeah.
Yeah. Kenny's just furrowing his brow. His head hurts.
He sometimes he turns up, you know, when like it's not every night, but sometimes he'll turn up if there's, you know, like been if I've been real scared, or like if something bad happened, like yesterday, you know, when I wet me. I mean, I was real scared yesterday.
Yeah, no one remembers that spring. It's all right.
No, good.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe you just need I don't know. You've been drinking too much, or you know, or
Kenny's gonna raise his eyebrow.
He's got
maybe.
Spring's like wedged like this on the slab, and she looks at you and she kind of goes, "Oh yeah, drinking too much."
Oi, Slab. She's had enough of your kind embrace.
No, she ain't.
No, really, Slab, you can put me. Oh, wait. She starts sniffing the ashes. Do you smell that?
Do I smell that, Dave?
You do smell that. It's breakfast. It's the smell of food drifting through the mansion. Missy, it seems, is hard at work as always, and you are so very, very hungry, Kenny.
Yeah. It's gonna be like a, you know, like when a dog, someone's eating something and the dog just won't get at it, just sits over like a long bit of drool. It's just gonna be like a drool starts gonna. Kenny's gonna, like, for a moment he's gonna start squaring off against Slab, and but now he's gonna lose interest in that and he's just gonna walk out. His belly rumbles.
Fucking amateurs.
He's gonna mutter. He's off. He's out there, lured by the smell of breakfast.
Spring, who's pinned to Slab. I like to think that their faces are quite close to one another as well, the way Slab's got hold of her. And her arms are just pinned here. She's just going to, like, gently pat either side of his face like that and go, "Come on, big guy, dining room."
I shall walk out, carrying her, sobbing.
And she constantly is trying to soothe Slab. There, big guy. There. She risks a glance at the snow globe on the shelf as they leave. She doesn't say anything.
Can I test what this bone quality, bone looking powder is?
You can have a look at it if you'd like, yeah. Give me a... You don't have any particular skill for that. Just give me a general intelligence test. Okay, so there are this strange assortment of objects on this shelf.
Is there anything that belongs to Ted?
No. Although the...
Not yet.
No, not yet. Although the servitor Vox grill that's there is one of the items Alyssa showed you. One of the things she suggested you would need to do what she's asked you to do.
Is everyone else left?
Yeah, everyone else is gone, leaving you on your own.
Right, I'll pocket then.
Add to your inventory Jeeves's old Vox Servitor grill, which went missing about 3 years ago. There's all these different items. You take the Vox grill, and then there is this snow globe on all the objects are arranged from left to right along the shelf. About in the middle of the shelf is this snow globe, and then right of that snow globe is just this layer of this bone-like dust. You take a bit of a scoop up and you rub it between your fingers, and you're not really sure what it is. If you didn't know better, you'd think someone had ground some bones up to powder and just sprinkled them on here, but that seems odd. That seems a strange thing to do. You stretch up on your tippy toes and you have a little peek further to the back of the shelf, and you see there are about 7 or 8 circles on the shelf that don't have dust on them, as though something was sat there, then the dust was dropped, and then the objects were removed. And you realise that the circular spaces are about the same size as the snow globe. It looks as though, you know, there were many snow globes here, and now there is only one, and there is just this dust.
Bizarre.
Everyone else is heading off to breakfast. Ted, what are you doing?
Yeah, Ted could eat some breakfast.
Okay. You head off downstairs after the others. As you go, I'd like you to make an awareness test of +10, please.
That image I just sent you, pigs.
Oh shit! What have I just done? The only problem with that is that
The giant baby bottle.
I was going to say the only problem with that is that that's not her hair colour.
No.
All right. Yeah, off you go. Toddle out of the room, stepping over the shattered remains of Spring's bedroom door. You head down the stairs, all of you, not all quite together. You head into the kitchen. Into the dining room. And I would like everyone except Ted to make an awareness test, please. Actually, no, Ted again. All of you make an awareness test, straight awareness test, no modifiers. 2 tiny flies have just appeared in here. What a set of cunts.
My new cat's special skill is catching and eating flies.
Ooh, that's a really, really useful skill. Binky, my genetically bloody crippled dwarf cat that I used to have, who had no hunting skills at all when it came to birds or mice or anything, was a spider murderer. Like, if there was a spider skipping across the floor and you pointed at, she wouldn't see it, but if you pointed it out to her, she'd be like, "Fucking come on!" And she'd just like pin it and eat it straight away, and always look really pleased with herself.
Yeah, Molly, my last dog, she liked to try and catch flies, but I don't believe that she ever did. She tried though, you know, she made a valiant attempt to catch the flies. I don't recall her ever catching one or eating one.
Yeah,
It's for the counts, right?
Yeah.
Like a snap of the dog trying to catch one out of the air.
She tried to catch rabbits too. I don't believe she ever succeeded. But she enjoyed the chase.
That's what it's all about.
All about the chase.
Right.
Nice if she'd caught me a fucking rabbit though for tea. But... I thought Corella gone missing, but here he is.
Oh yeah, he is, isn't he? Yeah, he's not there. Sorry. Oh, Gav. Apples and pears. What am I doing here? Why is that misbehaving? There it is. Okay, as you head down the stairs, all 3 of you can't help but notice that in the stairwell, it looks like, and you've never noticed this before in the mansion, it looks like the mansion's maybe in need of some TLC. There's some cracks in the paintwork going down the staircase. One of the stairs squeaks. You've never noticed that before. Slab, you lean on the banister at one point, and it seems to give way a little bit, and one of the, I forgot what, the lats in the banister snap under your weight. It's time to think maybe, you know, this place needs some sort of handyman maybe to come in and give it a once over. There's patches where it looks like damp's maybe creeping up the wall. You head down from the second floor, you little bastard, down to the ground floor. Not you guys, I was talking to the fly. Along the corridor into the large dining room where you find the rest of your companions. Breakfast has already started. Much of it is piled up in large serving platters in the middle of the table. And as Missy's eating herself, not eating herself, she's eating herself. And as you all enter and take your seats, she gets up and she begins piling some food onto the plates for you. If you'd like to take your seats, please, Ted and Slab. It's the usual fare: cooked meats, sausages, eggs, traditional scintillant breakfast. If, of course, you were wealthy enough to afford actual meat wherever you came from on Scintilla, this is what you would eat. The guardsmen are all here. The Syrian brothers and Hannibal's team are here. Grizzled Navy veteran Jarek's here. Spring drags a chair out between Jarek and Titulos, sits down with a big smile. She punches Titulos on the arm. He gives her a little ruffle of the hair back. Thomas is there. Thomas is all smiles. He seems to be fascinated by Slab. He stares at the hulking Ogrin with a big smile on his face as he sits down at the far end of the table. There's no sign of Zelda. There's also no sign of Karel for some reason. I don't know why. Missy fusses around each of you as you take your seats. She dishes out some generous portions, enormous portions to both Slab and Canny, enough for several normal-sized people piled up on the plates of both of you two. Everyone make an awareness test, please.
Pass.
Okay, Canny. As you sit down and the food's piled up in front of you, and Missy puts this plate down, then returns to take her seat, and you give her a little nod of thanks. You can't help but notice in the far corner of the room, the southwestern corner, there is this little cloud of like fine powdery dust falling from the ceiling. And as you peer at it harder, you've got quite keen eyesight for a fat lad, because apparently that's a thing. You see there is a crack in the ceiling, in the plaster or whatever it is that passes for plaster in the 41st millennium. And it's maybe 8 or 9 mil wide, and you can see in this crack there is this sort of like pale, almost like bleached bone substance. It seems to be behind the plaster.
Canny's rapidly shoving all the food into his gullet, but what in between, as he's going to sort of his mouth full, and he's going to go,
"Did anyone else notice the mansion looked fucked? It's falling to bits."
Let's see if anyone's noticed.
Well, I noticed I noticed that, and I noticed the bone shit. So, is there any bone stuff around? Like when we wandered over towards the kitchen, noticed that the mansion was looking naked.
Yeah, so you all noticed that the staircase was looking a bit grim. There was some cracks in the paper, in the plaster there. You didn't notice any bone-like substance, but there was cracks forming. There was shadows, damp patches, maybe some spider webs. Slab broke a lat of the banister, but there's none of this bone stuff. Are you bringing it up that you noticed that before?
I'll say yeah. I've noticed the mansion's starting to crumble. How old is it?
Missy pipes up at that and says, "It's just a moment, just a moment." Could you see what I said there?
I'm well aware of your in phrase for committee.
She says, well, I don't know exactly how old this place is, but, I mean, normally it don't take much upkeeping. You might have noticed I'm the only member of staff here, and ordinarily you might think I do an incredible job, but, well, this place don't need no cleaning and maintaining, but this last day or so I've started to notice something strange is happening.
I'm going to wave a piece
So
of
who
meat.
built this place?
You do an amazing job.
I'm going to say waving a piece of meat.
Well, thank you, Canny. You're always so kind. She turns back to you, Ted. She says, I don't really know who built it. What I do know is that it's based on Miss Antonia's ancestral home. It's a copy of where she grew up. But that's all I was ever told. I was just asked if I'd like to live here until Thomas was born. And, well, afterwards, the Inquisitor just kept me on because she liked my cooking, I guess.
Sorry, do we know she's dead yet or not? I can't remember whether
You guys don't know.
You guys
No.
don't. Okay.
I think the other team have kind of figured out that she's dead based on what people have said, but
But not-
none
but
of
not
you
this
lot,
team.
none of you lot know she's dead now.
Okay.
Well, maybe we should fuck off then if it's going to fall down around our fucking ears.
Fairness pipes up at that and says, yeah, that reminds me, we need to get all the Gaius and Fairness. No, I'm Fairness. Gaius and Veneta and that lot. Any luck on that yet, Ted?
And you look on what?
So last night, after the incident with Alyssa, Carell contacted you. Carell, who isn't here, by the way. Carell contacted you and asked if you could figure out why the mansion's communications to the outside world were down.
Ah, okay. Right. No, is the short answer to that. I've not even looked at it.
All right.
So-
Yes.
On my mind.
I mean, no rush, mate. It's not as fucking important.
So well, maybe you can get on with that at some point today. I'll.
Yeah. I mean, no rush though.
He says, I'm going to take a team. Any volunteers going to go outside? Maybe see if we can patch into another comm terminal further up. I've see if we can get all the guys and that. We know they headed Spire Pagney. Shouldn't be too difficult to contact them.
Yeah. I want to. Could do with a bit of fresh air. This place is getting a little claustrophobic, little dirty.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm going to be very busy shortly after breakfast.
Jarek shakes his head. He won't be going. Spring pipes up. She says, yeah, sure, I'll go.
Can Ted put his finger on the nature of the crystalline tech?
Not yet. Not particularly familiar with either the crystalline tech or... What you do know is it's not Imperial. It's quite obviously not Imperial technology.
Quite obviously, fucking.
You're smart enough to have figured out that it's not Imperial and it is some sort of wireless connectivity thing. That's about all you'd have been able to figure out without doing some, real serious analysis, maybe some research, some sort of testing. Just at a glance, that's what you know about it.
Alyssa contacted me as well. So have I removed the Wi-Fi MIU? Do you say? Is that wireless connectivity gone? Is that why she plugged into me with a mechadendrite?
Yep.
Right.
You've got your wireless MIU, but you don't have it attached anymore. It was removed. During all this, as this conversation is going on, Slab has worked his way round the table, and he just suddenly physically picks Theranos out of a chair, drops him into the chair next to where he was sat, and then sits in Theranos' place, and then announces, "Excuse me," after moving him. Theranos just sort of gives him a bit of a wide-eyed look, and then pats Slab on the arm and says, "Yeah, no worries, mate. You could have just asked if you wanted to sit there." Right. Theranos says, "Right, so no word from the others. Priority is trying to re-establish contact. Ted, me and the boys will head out and see if we can find somewhere communicating from outside. With first and second in command both out in the field, we ain't got no instructions. So, what do we do? Are we back to recruitment and all the other shit we've been doing? Where I see it, we're cut off from command. We've got two options. We dig in and wait for orders, or we take the initiative and figure out what we're doing by ourselves."
Yeah. I like the sound of that. Don't want to be just sitting here doing fuck all, do we?
No. So me and you and Spring, Canny, we'll go outside, see if we can get reconnected. I'm sure Les has got like some sort of transmitter, receiver, Vox array or something in the armory. He turns to you, big Slab, and he says, "What about you, big guy? You coming with us? Might need your..." he pokes your arm. "Your muscles."
And he's
Come down with my body.
Gonna mutter under my breath.
Fucking don't need a fucking idiot. Fucking liability.
Spring.
Yeah, we don't need his muscle. We've got plenty of muscles.
You can never have too much, Kenny. You know, this place is hostile. Remember what happened yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll be fine without Slab. It's not like we need him or anything. Don't fucking need him.
Theranos is going to fix you with a quite stern look and say, "You all right, Kenny? Everything all right, mate?"
And he's gonna.
Yeah, good.
He's gonna be still talking with his mouth full. He's basically not stopping eating during the whole conversation.
At some point as well, Missy
no.
comes over and fills your plate up even more.
I'm gonna fit it with my best smile. And
Yeah. Feeling better than I have in a long time. Feeling right as rain. I know, just a little psych stuck in my throat before, and it's seems to have gone.
In your pocket, you can hear, "Fuck you, fat boy!"
oh no, I left him in the.
Oh, you left him, didn't you? Sorry, yeah.
I didn't want to bring him around. I thought he'd like my outfit. I didn't want to take him around with me.
Can anyone hear something? Fuck off, fatty! Hey!
No, I left him in the room.
All right.
I don't
Right.
know what to do with him. I want to torment him somehow, so I'm gonna have to try and get some fucking bleach or something.
Sure, there's a way of tormenting him, yeah. Is it? Right, okay.
I'll teach you to reside in my fucking lungs, mate.
Right. Me, Spring, big guy, Canny. We'll go have a look outside. The rest of you, just... I don't know what we're going to do if there's any problems back here. You'll have to deal with it as best you can. Has anyone seen Carell this morning?
No. He's probably having a lie-in or something. Maybe he had a late night. Maybe that's it.
Try and comms in.
Carl, you asked down to breakfast. Got a mission.
There's no reply.
A shout.
Carl, wake up, you fucking lazy cunt.
Spring pushes her chair back, says, "I'll go wake him," and she more or less skips out of the room.
Canny's torn between keeping an eye on Spring and making sure she gets up to no mischief, but then he decides he'd rather stay here with a plate of meat.
Okay. Spring heads off. Just gonna remove her for the moment. The tinkle of cutlery on crockery. Missy occasionally walks around and fills up people's recaf.
Who's left of me?
You should be able to see on the map.
Oh, right.
Yeah, if you're wondering where Spring went, Dave, it was north, out the north door.
Yeah, I'm just standing at the door.
Can't see anything on the map, Dave.
Oh no, has Ted got no eyes? Ted's got no eyes. There you go. Are you going after Spring, Slab?
Not following her, but following her, if you know what I mean.
No.
I haven't got a clue where she went, so I'm just walking in that general direction.
Okay. Right. Okay.
He ain't
Slab.
quick enough to keep up with her.
No, true. Slab thuds off out the room, heading after Spring, as the rest of you continue your breakfast.
Canny's going to pointedly head over to Slab's place, pick up his plate, and then pour any remnants if there's left any food onto his own plate.
I mean, there's probably is some, because Missy keeps topping you two up every time you get near to emptying your plate. She'll fill up more, so there's definitely more food on there.
Okay, I'll help myself to Slabs.
That's staircase. You can see Slab heads up to the bedrooms. Okay, I'm just going to go have a wee. Back in a moment. Man sec. Okay, so Slab. You've gone in there. What are you doing? Are you heading upstairs or are you staying down there?
There's an open door in front of me. She must have gone this way.
Yeah. Oddly
Oh,
enough,
there's an open door to the left of me. She must have gone through there.
just walking round and round in circles.
Yeah, he's just wandering around at the moment.
Okay. You probably do know where Carell's room is as well. Okay. So, if there's anything, Canny and Ted are still in here, so if there's anything either of you two want to do or say, feel
James
free.
James is AFK, so it's just me at the minute, mate. So, just trying to think where I was last with Canny. It's been a long time.
It has, yeah.
And I was probably drunk. I'm just gonna have a quick look. Yeah, but Canny's just gonna eat till he is full.
He's going to be eating along.
He's gonna pipe up. Yeah, quite possibly. He's gonna pipe up. He's gonna say, "Hey, Light, you all right, mate?" Oh, James isn't there, is he? So
Nope.
I don't speak to him. I'll wait till James returns. Who else? We've got Vasquez, Les, Eric, Jen, Thomas.
Just find Slab. Oh, actually, that's perfect, Slab. You open that door there. There is this small temple, a couple of pews, a small altar. There is two statues in the corners. One is of the God Emperor, which you'd be familiar with. The other is of Saint Drusus, which you would be indoctrinated to be familiar with. And as you're peering in here, I'd like Slab and Eric to make an awareness test. Slab and Eric, Slab and Ted to make an awareness test. Plus 10, please.
Who's Eric?
Eric's one of the other guardsmen. Slab and Ted.
Ted or Eric?
Ted, do it. Ted, make the roll, and also Canny, please.
Awareness.
Yep.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay, so I'll come back to that in a moment, Slab, as you're peeking your head in that door to have a look in the temple. You don't see anyone there. Canny, you wanted to ask Light something, James,
Oh, yeah,
if you want to be Light for a moment.
Yeah, I'm going to, as I'm getting fuller and fuller and I finally make more time for conversation, kind of going to say,
Hey, Light, you all right, mate? Thought you, sure you took a little bit of damage in the fight. You seem fine now. What's going on, mate? Seem right as rain. Just walk it off, did you?
He was in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gone on in between.
Nothing. It was the fight with Speyer, which I think you were present for, weren't you? Light technically died and burnt a fate point to survive. And as his head exploded, basically during Speyer hit him with some sort of psychic power, his head exploded. And then Light had like an out-of-body experience, saw the God Emperor upon his throne, and then suddenly sat upright to everyone's shock because they'd all seen his head explode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was in my mind, and I don't know. I just blacked out. I don't remember what happened. It was all too much. Never seen or felt anything like that. It was insane.
Yeah, well, at least you're right now, mate. You know, amazing what good night's rest does for you.
Yeah, a bit embarrassing, really, losing it in a fight like that.
Yeah.
Vasquez sitting next to Light, or opposite Light rather, says, "You are too hard on yourself, SA, because they're all Hispanic now, apparently. It says, all of us have faced great hardships in our life, but none of us have faced anything like that, you know. What that thing was is not what we were trained to be fighting. We were trained for insurrection.
Yeah, that was something else. I don't want to fight anything like that ever again.
Yeah, well, sure we won't. We killed him for good this time, right, guys?
Hey! Fairness raises his cup of recaf. Yeah! Third and final time. Third time's a charm, innit? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. You fought that 3 fucking times now.
Ah, yeah. First time was after, it got in Seraph. Second time was a couple of months back when, you weren't present for this conversation, were you, Ted? Yeah, we came here looking for this bloke, right? But we ended up getting sidetracked, all this shit with the black orbs and that. And we went looking for one of these orbs that we thought was being delivered. Only it weren't no orb that got delivered. It was that fucker. Spare. He turned up, blew up a shuttle, killed a load of people, fled into this church made of meat. Yeah, we all fought him down there. Canny pulled some cunt's spine right out of his body, gave it to V.
Coming!
He did have it coming. He was a prick. But yeah, he killed him. You know what they say about demons. Kill me once, shame on me. Kill me. No, wait, that don't work, does it?
No, don't work that, mate. No, if you're getting mixed, mixed meat or whatever it is, I don't know.
Yeah, lovely meat mix,
No,
mixed meat grill.
No, I'm getting distracted myself now. Are you gonna finish that?
Ferrinus pushes his plate, which has got a couple of extra sausages on that Missy has given him, pushes it across the table to you. Here you go, big lad.
Chuck 'em on tonight, boy.
Sending you a message, James.
Not often we see young Thomas at the table. How you doing, young lad? Looking a bit chipper.
Turns and just grins at you.
Hey.
Doesn't say
Hey.
anything. And Missy says, Thomas didn't want to be left alone today. He insisted he stuck by my side all the time.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
He's a very good boy, He's no trouble whatsoever. Everybody said to me being a single mother would be so difficult. But Thomas, he's so well behaved. It's like he always knows what I want him to do before I ask him to do it.
Yes, terribly convenient.
It's more than convenient. He's a god, Emperor Send, I tell you.
Yeah, all praise be. Blah, blah, blah.
Send me a message, David.
Yeah, in Roll20.
Ah, okay. Stop using the different types of communication, David.
I'm sorry. It's just a good way of creating more confusion than I literally need.
Fuck it. The miserable ghost of the Toby Pachink. Alright, I'll go have a look. Well, I'll stuff all the remaining breakfast in my face.
Yep.
Shovel it in and right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
And,
Just gonna.
Ted headed off as well, has he?
Ted's wandering off. Yeah.
Is there any food left on his plane?
Ted, are you leaving anything?
I'm a fuck.
No.
Canny's got a mutter sign.
Fucking greedy bastard.
I heard that.
Okay. As you're
fucking sausage.
as you're leaving, Ted, you hear a voice in your combead, and you recognise it straight away as being Light. And the Special Forces troopers, Eric, Light, and Vasquez, all have this ability to like sub-vocalize when they speak. So people don't hear them when they sat next to them or stood next to them, but, you know, over a combead it comes through. And you hear Light vox you, Ted, and he says, yes, I heard that too. You need some backup, man.
Yeah, you come along for the ride if you want, but I think the mansion's fallen to pieces.
Light gets up, excuses himself from the table, and he heads off.
Has he left anything on his plate, Dave?
Yeah, there's a few bits of re-bacon and a handful of re-beans as well.
Or scavenge.
Okay, so Ted, the sound came from the door north of your position.
Oh my. Is that north? Okay. So is this where Slab went?
Yep.
Oh. Well, maybe it's not a match. Maybe it's the big fucking lummox.
Make an awareness test as you're heading that way as well, please. Meanwhile, Slab, I'm just going to put you back a minute, Slab, where you were. Just here. You hear this crashing noise, Slab.
Oh no, that's way off.
And you turn round and you see something slide down the stairs, this big central stairwell here in the middle of the foyer, Slab. Slides down with a clattering noise and comes to rest on the polished marble tile floor. And it's this large painting. It's about 6 foot tall, but it's face down on the marble tiles.
I'll go upstairs then.
Okay, you walk past the painting, head up the stairs. I'm going to put you on the upstairs map.
Where was the painting? At the top of the stairs on the wall?
Yeah, that's what I'm just going to put you on this map. Okay, so where you are now is the top of that staircase. The wall immediately north of you is this gallery of portraits. You recognise one of the people in them. Basically, the entire gallery is split into 2 halves. The half on the left is... No, let me start again. It's split into 2 halves. At the centre of this gallery, there was 2 large portraits. 6 foot tall, life-size portraits. One of them has just fallen off the wall and slid down the stairs. The other one is of this very handsome, dark-skinned man. Slab doesn't really know who he is. All the portraits around this large picture feature this dark-skinned man, or people that look like him. You assume, Slab, you're smart enough to figure out probably family members or something. Some of them might be him when he was younger, as a child, things like that. Some of them are solo portraits, some are groups. Some might be ancestors, you know. It's basically almost like a family tree of this guy. The space on the left is the space on the right where the other portrait was that has now fallen is also surrounded in smaller portraits of similar sort of thing, groups, individuals, and you recognize here and there a woman in one of these, in a few of these portraits, the solo ones and the group ones, and you recognize her as Inquisitor Mesmeron, who you served before you were frozen. You also notice there's one portrait where there seems to be a young girl that looks like a younger version of Inquisitor Mesmeron, and you're a bit confused by the fact that there are 2 of her in this picture. And then you see there's a few other pictures as well of two young girls together through various ages, you know, from infanthood up to being adolescents, perhaps. You're fairly certain they're all the same person as they get older. You're smart enough to realise people change as they get older and grow and get taller. But you're a bit confused why there are two of them. You suspect one of them is definitely the Inquisitor as a child, but why is there two of her in the pictures? And more importantly, why has the big picture of her fallen from the wall?
Maybe it's a picture of her holding a picture of her.
Which is holding a smaller picture of her.
I'm gonna radio over the comms. Where's Vanetta? Is there any other tickies in the house?
No, stranded outside, but we're trying to get in contact with her. That's why we sent you to see if you could re-establish communication so we could speak to her.
I've got a theory, but I'm not sure Ted knows.
Ted, you can carry on moving if you want with light as well while this is going on.
Heading towards the sound.
Okay, it's probably from the west, you think?
What's up, Ted? Where are you?
I'm on my way from the. It's just. I need someone to who's got an idea of what this house is made of. I need more brains to bounce ideas off.
Right, come in.
He's got adrenaline and sprints off after Ted.
Kenny, make an intelligence test for me, please.
My favourite test.
I mean,
Fate point.
you kind of feel like You kind of feel like someone has told you at some point what this house is made of, but you can't remember the words. The words, Kenny, they're so difficult.
Yeah, there's that. The migraine starts to pulse at the back of his head again.
Fucking hell.
Okay, so Ted, as you emerge into this vast marble-floored foyer there's like the whole 5 stories of this mansion you can see up into in this room here, and there is this balcony on the first floor. You can see Slab stood at the top of the first floor gazing at the portraits. There is this large space in the portrait wall, and Slab isn't where he looks like he is. He's at the very top of those stairs at the moment. And there is a portrait face down, a 6-foot full-length portrait face down on the floor about here at the bottom of these stairs.
Right. Is there? Can I examine if there's any of this bone dust around them?
Make an awareness test. There is a fixing on the back of the portrait, which you imagine would attach to, a hook in the wall or something like that. And there is a fine layer of this bone dust on that hook.
Oh, this is a bit worrying. I don't think Ted's ever come across all that tech, has he?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Like...
No, he probably won't. Chances are he's ended up going from whatever Forge world he was from to Cyric Scales Lab and not really experienced much in between.
There's
You haven't got any Xenos skills, have you? So, yeah.
Oh, good point, I don't.
And also, Eldar in the Calexis sector are even rarer than they are in the Imperium at large.
I'm going to go back down the stairs, Pigs, pick up the painting, drag it back up the top and rehang it.
Okay, you grab this painting, and as you do, and you flip it over, you see this. There is this painting there of the woman you once served. This woman who basically told you to stand there and get punched by the Seraph Spear thing while she and her team did her work. And Seraph did kick the living fuck out of you as well in her Spear form. And you see this woman on this portrait, this slightly haughty but very beautiful, coldly beautiful woman on the portrait, and there is painted into the portrait there is nothing in her eyes. There was just blackness where her eyes should be, and blood running down her cheeks. But that probably doesn't mean much to you, Slab. So you carry it back up the stairs. You go to hang it, and you realise there's no hook on the wall.
I will lean it against the wall, lift it up a little bit. How tall is it?
6 foot.
Yeah, no problem. I'll lift it up so it's about a foot off the floor, roughly where it should be on the wall, and stick my fucking knife in the wall through the top of the painting to rehang it.
Okay. I'd like to make a strength check, please.
Ooh, I'll re-roll that.
It's an embarrassing ogre in strength check.
Fucking hell.
That's enough. That'll do it. You smash the knife into the painting and into the wall. Ted, you see him do this, and the painting hangs there slightly off to one side. He's not quite got it nailed dead center. And you see Ted from behind the painting as he does this small rain of dust lands on the floor at the top of the stairs.
Fucking hell, big man, you got a big arm on you.
Big everything, mate.
It needs to be canon. It needs to be canon that Slab has a big everything, but a micro penis.
However, whilst it's micro to me, it's still a fucking foot long to everyone.
Oh yeah, it'd still be huge compared to everyone else's, but
Still like a fucking baby's arm holding a rotten apple.
it'd probably be like perfectly average size for a human. It's just disproportionate to his body, and
Tiny for a 10-foot ogre.
he's really ashamed of it. But everyone else is like, "Fucking hell, mate, that's decent." I know it's tiny. Okay, so there you go. What are you up to?
Staring into this thing's eyes and wondering, hang on, there's something wrong with her fucking eyes. They didn't used to be that colour.
Make a willpower test, please, at -10. Back in a moment.
Yeah, that'll work.
Have I caught up with them yet, Dave?
Little Leanne's caught up with him.
Is Leanne seeing things outside the window with her red eyes?
I've lost these on there now. Someone's enjoying this. I don't know if that's Leanne or Alison, but someone's having fun.
It's not. Yeah, it's not Alison. It's,
Right,
watching,
Dave.
reading a book, I think.
I've got my game against Reese this week, James. Have you ever played performers?
yeah.
Have you ever gone against performers before?
I need. What day are you playing them?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Mhm.
Right. I might see if Mark can. Are you off work or are you going after work?
I was going after work.
Cool. Right.
Pretty much straight
Right,
away.
so-
I don't really have much leave, not much time. Get there for 6 after finish work at 4:30, so
Yeah.
by the time I get home and
Yeah. Quick turnaround.
yeah, so
I'll ask. I need to play Mark, so I might see if he can do Tuesday.
yeah, it'd certainly obviously be better if I could share a lift, but
Yeah.
if I was going on my own. I'm going on my own either way, so
Cool. Yeah, 'cause I need to play like an odd game versus Mark. It's not actually one of mine. Just
either being a ringer here.
yeah. Don't know what to take against him. If I should take Lucius for a bit more practice, or if I should just. I mean, I don't know who. What was he was supposed to play Mizaki, wasn't he? I think, but I think that's what
Yeah.
Adam was supposed to be. But
Uh-huh.
can't get us learning a new crew.
No, I get that.
I had a good
I just-
game against Lincoln against the chap, but he wasn't wasn't massively knowledgeable on the game. He'd only fought about 6 or 7 games.
Uh-huh.
Si from Lincoln's teaching him how to play, and he's had quite a lot of experience, seen him a lot of tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Slab, you gaze into the eyes of the painting. You remember Inquisitor Mesmeron, although she's quite a cold woman. She was never cruel to you or anything like that. She was, she just commanded you, and you did as you were told. One thing you might always have thought about her is that she was quite a beautiful woman. Very pale skin, like she's in this painting. Hair golden blonde, just like in this painting. Quite tall for a woman, slender. But the one thing you do recall more than anything was the vividness of these strange, almost iridescent eyes that at first glance seemed to be grey, but the longer you looked at them, the more they had this almost like a pearlescence to them. Very strange effect to her eyes. But on this painting, they're just pools of black. You stare at them, and you feel yourself slipping into them. And you feel fear for a moment, which is unusual for you. You're not afraid of much, but you feel this strange, bone-chilling fear, utter terror. And you gain 7 insanity points. And for a moment you find yourself in a place that has no substance, and you feel as though your very soul, your very essence is being torn at, pulled at and clawed at, as if something is trying to take you apart, the very essence of you apart, as though something is trying to eradicate your entire existence. But then you feel a hand upon your shoulder, and this strange sensation is replaced by darkness, nothingness, which again is very quickly replaced by a faint chill and a stone beneath your feet. And you find yourself in a very small chamber that you struggle to stand upright in. It's maybe only 6 feet wide by maybe 10 feet high. You have to hunch a little bit just to stand upright. And there is a woman on the floor before you. And she is slumped on her side. She can't stand because it appears she has 1 foot missing, you imagine. There is just a ragged stump where her second foot should be. It looks healed. It looks like it's been crudely cauterized, maybe. And she's wearing this dirty, ragged robe. She's twisted and misshapen. There is this large bulge on her back that seems to writhe constantly. And the woman looks at you through lank, matted hair that hangs over her face. And she tries to smile. And it's an awkward, quite ugly smile with shattered teeth behind scarred lips. One of her eyes is milky. The other one is this strange iridescent grey. She smiles warmly at you, Slab, and she tries to speak, but the words come out as a croak. But you hear her nonetheless. And she says 2 words. Too late. And then you're back in the mansion at the top of the stairs, feeling a little disorientated.
Okay. I shall sit down.
Okay. Did you see Slab sit down at the top of the stairs? Canny, what are you up to?
As I start chasing off after him, because Ted asked for some help, bounce some ideas around, so finished eating as well. I'm going to run off after, I'll track them. I don't know where they've gone though, so I'm not really sure, so I'm just going to start running off. Did Ted tell me where he was? Gave me a rough indication, I think. I can't remember exactly what you said, James. But... Yeah, so I'm going to try and reunite with the rest of the team.
Okay.
Let's never split the party.
Don't split
These
the party!
They don't know nothing. Wandering off on their own.
I'll
never
say
watched the Olympics.
box. The crash was a painting in the main foyer,
I'll head off that way then.
or wherever the fuck that.
I'll pop another adrenaline to get me moving.
Oh.
Right, just a second. I'm going to go back there. Les is going to go to his place. Guardsmen, this 5-strong guardsman team. Don't know what I'm going to do with them really. They're going to...
They got themselves their own command squad.
They are basically. Fucking Vazquez was a lieutenant. Ferinus was a sergeant. Titulos was a corporal. Jarek's like a naval boarding specialist. Eric's a heavy weapons specialist. I don't know what light is. But yeah, there's like a miniature guardsman team building up here.
Nice. Platoon command.
Okay. So yeah, Kenny, you where have you gone? I've lost you.
I went running.
Yeah, as you you can see these guys in front of you. They're not in front of you. They're behind you, following you. You come running into the foyer, which is just a little bit further ahead here, and you see Ted at the bottom of the stairs. Slab has rehung this painting of Mesmeron. Ted has told you it was a painting. You see Slab just sitting at the top of the stairs.
What's going on, Ted? What's up with numbnuts?
Well, I don't know. He just sat down, just hung that painting with his knife. Painting
Yeah.
fell off, hung it up again. Now he's sat down.
Yeah, just stab a painting. He's a real fucking clever clogs, isn't he?
Like everyone to give me an awareness test. Slab, yours will be at a -20.
Yeah, I remember tonight, Ted. It's something about all this. The mansion is made of something. It's a construct. I remembered.
It's a construct.
Yeah, it's made of something. It's just.
Well, everything's
Just can't.
made of something, mate.
Yeah. I'm just getting to that bit already.
Canny's unbridled
Give me
anger.
a fucking minute. Give me a fucking minute. It'll come just on the tip of me tongue.
What test was you after, Dave?
Awareness, please.
Yeah, did you ever?
I know that this mansion's made of Imperial tech, and it's connected remotely with this weird crystal shit.
Aye.
Everything's falling
Oh,
apart.
quiet.
So presumably the communication system is also hinged on this crystal shit.
Oh yeah.
Can
Can I
it-
go find a crystal somewhere that's likely connected to a non-important item?
Would you know of anything? I mean, what you've learned, Ted, is that it seems anything that could potentially be connected to a cogitator, if there was a reason to connect it to a cogitator, a central computer system, is connected. Is the best way to explain what you know or what you figured out is connected. Canny, as this conversation is going on, you're talking to Ted. He's saying a lot of words. Some of them are quite big, and you maybe don't understand all of them, but you hear this this cracking noise, and you look to your left, and there is this column right next to you, which is it's almost 4 stories tall, stretching right up into this large foyer. And you look upwards, and you see there are cracks forming at the top and spreading, spiraling down this supporting column.
Yeah, am I the only one who thinks we should get the fuck out of Dodge?
Where would you see that?
The place is fucking falling around and around us.
Point this big fuck off crack.
Ted's gonna look up at the crack and go, "Oh no, is it getting worse?"
Do you know any plastering?
Got good plaster. I asked my dad that earlier in real life. You got a plaster's number, Dad?
Never find a good plasterer when you need one.
Some scaffolders in another dimension.
Yeah, we do actually, don't we? There are some scaffolders kicking around in Faerun, probably in Baldur's Gate right now.
Dad, you ever coughed anything up? Like, I mean, you know.
What do you mean, like phlegm?
No, like something that, you know, I mean, like phlegm, but, you know, more like living.
Living phlegm. Well, I've seen some shit in my time, but I've never seen no alien fucking phlegm coming out of my lungs. No.
No, I mean, it's just a dream. Forget I said anything. So let's get out. I don't want to be in this fucking mansion when it falls to bits.
I'm going to radio the people on the outside, and
Okay.
I'm going to tell them that I've got a bad feeling that this mansion's falling to pieces, and it might be increasing in speed at which it is falling apart. Now, if the communication system is part of this mansion as well, and you've lost Alyssa, you know, how are you communicating with her?
I think have we been able to talk with Alyssa recently? I'm not been speaking in a while.
Last night there was some
We got on
conversation with
quickly.
Alyssa, and I can't remember exactly what was
She
said.
kind of coughed, didn't she?
She got cut
Yeah, she
off.
kind of coughed. Yeah, yeah.
She's-
She
She kind
right,
of she acted a little weird. She
strange, and then
yeah,
she got- yeah.
and then she cut off.
Right, Ted is off on a mission to grab all of these bits that she's asked him to get together.
Okay.
What are you up to, Ted? Where you going? We
Uh,
shouldn't split the party. Everyone knows that.
Right, I've
Don't
got.
teach you anything off in whatever fucking world you come from.
It's hard to explain, but
Well,
if
definitely,
I were you, I'd
don't
get
split
everything that
pie.
you hold dear, and in fact, everybody get everything that you give a shit about. Because if this mansion comes down around our ears, you're gonna lose it all.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got some stuff back in my room. I really must keep.
Canny's going to.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea, Ted. You're a smart one.
He's gonna look at Slab as well and go, "You're right, big man. You got anything important you want to take out of this mansion?"
The eyes.
Oh, fucking hell, he's fucking. Nothing, no sense out of you all today, Slab.
Look at the eyes.
What eyes?
Canny's going to move closer to Slab.
Don't look around the eyes. Don't look under the eyes. Look into the eyes. You under.
Are you indicating the eyes you refer to?
Yeah, I'll point at the painting.
Okay.
Look at the eyes, Tel.
Ted's on a mission.
And you see what what Slab's referring to. Canny, you've passed this painting. You've probably glanced at it in passing. Art isn't really something you give a flying fuck about, but you will have noticed this life-size portrait of Inquisitor Mesmeron many times. And sure enough, as Slab says, look at the eyes. The portrait of Mesmeron just has these black pits for eyes with blood running down her face.
That's funny. What's it mean, sir? Ain't something's change.
She's in a room.
She's in a room.
Only got 1 foot.
That's inconvenient.
She won't be dancing anymore.
No, I can't imagine she will, unless she gets a new foot put on, like a bionic foot. That might be an improvement on the last one. She might dance better than she ever has again. I mean, who can know the future, Slap? It's too late. It's too late for what, Slap?
I don't know, she said it's too late.
Kenny's
I appreciate your Vox modulator, but it's hard to tell what the fuck you're saying.
Kenny's head again starts pounding a little bit.
Fuck you. I'm not getting any sense out of you, Slab.
I'm gonna head off after Ted. No, actually, no. I'm gonna head back to my room and take Ted's advice and make sure I've got all my things.
Okay, at this point, Spring comes skipping down the stairs. As Canny, you're heading up to your room. You like pass her at the foot of the stairs. She says, "Pretty copper boy's not in his room. I don't know where he is. There's no sign of him."
Oh, fuck you know. He swore an oath!
I'm gonna shout really angry at this point. Like, really at top of.
He swore an oath!
Yeah, and Kenny's gonna head back to his room and get his nurgling. Anything else he might have in there?
Okay.
Can't leave you behind, little fella. Not until the fun starts.
Right. So if you're heading back to your rooms to
You pay me rent, little cunt.
if you're heading to your rooms to gather things you want to take with you, I would like to ask you to manage your inventory in some way. Either use your inventory handout and move stuff about, or put stars against the things you want to take with you. Whatever. I just need to know what you've got on you at the moment. I'm going to do the same for some of the NPCs, so it's going to take a little bit of a time. So all the NPCs have heard basically what's going on. They're all standing there, dumbstruck, like they're just, NPCs in this fucking bizarre game. They have no reactions, with the exception of Spring. Let's have a look. Les isn't there. Jarek is. Ferris is. Spring. Fairness. Ah, Alan. Alan has gone.
left. I didn't realise.
All right, there, Al. You went a bit robot there.
No, sorry guys. I accidentally left the chat. I didn't realise. How do I sound now?
Yeah, that's fine. You sound perfect. You sound perfect, Alan.
I just shut down my tab. It's one of my signature moves. Shut down Discord because I've got it on the browser by accident.
I've just seen the message you sent me in Discord.
Yeah, just looking for my inventory. I'd forgot about that one.
Oddly enough,
Yeah,
I'm just doing Theranos' inventory, what he's taking, and it's pretty similar. I know that Hayden was in control of Theranos last, but he's got 17 crack grenades on him. He's not going to carry them all just because it would be wildly impractical. Alright, Jarek. I think Jarek can pretty much take everything he's got. James, if you want to cast your eye over Light's inventory as well, just star next to whatever he's carrying or something. Who else have we got? Vasquez. Alan, you have control of Vasquez, I think, don't you?
Vasquez? I don't believe so.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Yeah, you do. If you want to just star a few things that she would be carrying.
Vasquez? I'm not sure that I... Do I?
Yeah, you have. She's one of the women.
Oh, she's no, it's in a different.
Yeah, she's one of the soldiers you met down in the Gallows Way. She's part of Dave's power play, so she's your character in power play. It just hasn't really happened much.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find a mate in your labyrinthian.
So is Light and Eric, aren't they?
Yeah, Light's James's and Eric's. I think Johnny had Eric. If you,
so it would be
it's in your,
Allen, would it?
Yeah, it's in your private area.
No, I just don't see it, Dave. Or rather, I've got something I see there, but it's the character sheet's not available. I can see.
Yeah.
I don't think Light any gear he can't just pick up and take with him.
He probably hasn't. Just want you to just check for me, rather than me having to do it all.
Yeah, quite. It's all just war gear.
Have a look now, Alan. I've just changed the setting. You didn't have edit rules for some reason.
Okay, I shall do so. And there's a pulsing at the back of his head, and he's gonna think,
what about the prisoners? What about Gladstock?
Okay, what about him?
Time to let him out. Can't just leave him to die, even though he's a cunt.
yeah, I think Vasquez could just take all of his stuff. There's hardly anything there on her list. So.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Caddy's going to head off down to the prison cells.
Maybe Gladstock knows what to do. He's the closest thing we've got to an officer.
Okay. So Canny's heading to the cells. Anyone going with Canny?
And he's going to comes in. Honest.
Slab, Ted! What I tell you about never splitting the party? You cunts.
I'll head off on my own then, I guess.
Fucking hell. Gonna have to face down Bloodstock alone.
Spring skips alongside you and she goes, "I'll come with you, Kenny. I ain't seen Gladders in a while."
Cheers, Spring. Glad we've got some of us were head screwed on. Everything's been going to shit, Spring. Ever since we lost Otto, that's when it all started to fall apart.
She says, "Yeah, he was the best of us."
He was, wasn't he?
Don't know why, but I've lost Vasquez.
I miss that little crooked-backed fuck, you know.
She says, "You know he keeps dirty pictures, don't you?"
Yeah, but who doesn't?
Yeah, who doesn't?
Sometimes I think, Springer, sometimes I think he's still with me.
No, he's definitely dead.
No, but you know, like, You know, you get a feeling like some sort of guardian angel, maybe.
No, I
Sometimes
mean,
I feel like clever and stuff, and I think it's Otto speaking through me somehow.
no, he's definitely dead. The voices told me.
Yeah.
She starts to walk off.
I fucking know he's dead, Spring. I'm not fucking stupid. I fucking held him while he died.
Oh, that was nice of you. I bet he liked that.
I spoke words at his when we burned him.
He would appreciate that. He liked words, did Otto?
No, was it? I can't remember. Did we burn him? Was that Snoozy Sue? We burned.
You,
We burned both of them.
you
We
ate
did
a bit of
funeral
him.
No, we did have a funeral for Otto. Oh, I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. No, I'm trying to get a bit mixed up there.
You burnt
No, we
Susie.
Yeah.
I can't remember what you
we
did
do
with
with
Otto.
then? I know I ate at least some of him. But I don't
Yeah,
know
you
what we
ate
did with
you ate his arm, I think, and some of his brain.
Oh, no, it's Susie. It's Susie's arm. It's,
Yeah, it was
Otto.
Otto's brain. Yeah.
I don't know whether we had like a ceremony for him or we burnt him maybe.
Just
something, turned
chucked
into
him
a
off,
corpse.
chucked him over the side of
I
Gantry.
honestly
I
can't
don't know.
remember it.
I can't.
remember.
I can't remember either.
Oh.
Dave, you were there. Can you remember what happened to Otto?
Just left him.
Just fucking abandoned him in a warehouse.
Yeah, he got bisected by some big cunt with an axe. Canny hit him and we fucked off.
Oh, he's the best. Never mind.
I don't remember it. No, that's not how I remember it.
Right, so Canny and Spring are heading down to the cells. Slab, what are you doing?
I'll stare at the picture for a little bit more, then I'll go and get my shit.
Okay.
I haven't got much.
Alrighty ho. The guardsmen are going to stack up on the door, ready to leave. Ted, what are you doing? Spring and Canny are heading down to the cells to get Gladstock out. Slab is still standing, staring at the painting at the moment. What are you doing?
Ted's off to go grab all the bits.
Okay,
Unless has told him to get.
cool.
Oh, I like the comms into Jeeves as well.
Oh, Jeeves, you there, you slag?
Compliance.
Yeah, do me a favour, would you go and pick up as much of Vanetta's stuff, you know, the important things that she likes, I don't know, you know, the techie bits, just pick up as much as you can carry and meet us at the door, would you?
Compliance.
She'll not want to lose her gubbins, you know, and the whirly things. Make sure you get the whirly bits, Jeeves. You know,
Compliance.
Jeeves. Thanks, Jeeves.
Compliance. You start to notice as well, Canny, that each repetition of compliance seems to sound slightly different.
Yes, I'm familiar about that guy.
So the people on the paintings, it's like some big paintings in it. One of them is of Arcturus, isn't it?
Yeah, the big handsome chap, the main character next to the Inquisitor is Arcturus, yeah. You probably, most of you, with the exception of Slab maybe, Ted maybe doesn't know, but everyone will have figured out by now that this tall, handsome, dark-skinned man in the military uniform is Inquisitor Arcturus, Inquisitor's former mentor and lover, and maybe even husband, if rumours are to be believed.
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone else is stacking up the door. Ted, you're going running around to pick up all this various stuff. Ted, I would like you to make an awareness test at plus 30 and a tech use test at plus 20.
Tech use at what, 20?
Yeah, please. Okay, so it's going to take you maybe 10 minutes or so to run around. You visit Vanetta's workshop, you visit Leslie's armory, you visit a few other places here and there. There's even an item that seems to be a part of some machinery that you just snap off. You gather all these things that Alyssa has instructed you to get, and that's going to be what you're doing for the next few minutes. And Slab, you're heading up to your, or down, I suppose, to your room, into the basement.
Sending you a message as well.
Okay. So Canny and Spring are going to be a little bit ahead of you before you head down to the basement as they go and release Gladstock. I'll be back in a moment. Just going for a wee.
Gonna find something to eat.
Jesus, this fucking cat tries to eat every plastic bag she comes across.
Okay. Right. James,
Yo,
can you knock the sensitivity down on your mic a little bit?
yeah.
Just picking up some background noise from, well, I assume it's Alison or the TV or something.
That's from the
Teddy,
fucking lounge, man. It's next door.
It's from what?
It's next door.
Fucking hell.
Well, no, actually. close the door in between. It'll be fun. It's just the TV and the film.
Yeah, right. I've pushed the boat out this week. Since I've got a specific fondness for my Guinness NitroSurge fancy £30 device that makes my expensive cans of Guinness taste just like a real pint, I've pushed the boat out and treated myself to a proper Guinness glass.
Ooh.
Not one, but two.
Because you're eventually going to lose one.
Well, no, I'll probably knock one over. That's what'll happen. Right. So, where are we?
Pardon me.
Slab's upstairs getting stuff from rooms. Ted, you're wandering up and down the rooms, gathering bits and pieces that you've seen. For the next few minutes, you're going to be doing that. And it would make logistical sense if you start on the floor you're on. There's a couple of bits on the floor above, and then you would work your way down to the basement where Vanetta's workshop is, where the last couple of bits are, and also your workshop is. So that's what you're doing for now. And Slab, you're gathering stuff. I've seen your messages, by the way. There is a kit bag, and you can start putting things like that in. So what I'm going to do is, before we go any further, Slab finds a kit bag, and upstairs I'm going to start with... I'm going to put Slab on the floor where the bedrooms are, the second floor, to start with. He knows where Hannibal's room is, he knows where Gaius's room, he knows where everyone's room is, basically. So, Slab... Just going to move some of these people that aren't there. So Slab, this is you from the ground floor. You come up the stairs onto the first floor, then the second floor. This is the room where everyone's bedrooms are, pretty much. The room north of you is Hannibal's, that one you just opened the door to. That's Hannibal's room. To the west is Canny, Gaius, and Siegfried. To the east, you've got the smaller rooms, which is where Trantia, Ted, Karel, Ferinus, Tichilos, Light, Jarek, and Spring have rooms. So you tell me what you want to do, and I'm going to make a few notes of things as we do it.
Well, I'll do what I said in the message I sent you first. Get my gear first, and then Hannibal's gear, and bag it all up.
Okay. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a list of everything you get. And obviously there will be a weight limit, although it will be astronomical. If you go over that weight limit, I'll maybe say, I'll send you a message later, like, what are you not taking, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we won't do that all in game because it's not fucking necessary.
Even if he's not carrying it as such, he's just basically, like the big fucking military kit bags that I mean, like a big green sausage roll, isn't it, with a huge strap that you wear around your chest. He's basically looking for something like that, filling it up with gear and just fucking dragging it along the floor behind.
Yeah, so
carrying them as such.
Hannibal has one of those, so you can start putting Hannibal's gear in. Are you getting anyone else's gear, or are you sticking with Hannibal's?
Once he's done Hannibal's gear, he'll go and have a look in Gaius's room and do something similar.
Okay.
Because he knows Gaius.
Okay, you know where Gaius's... Now I'm calling him it. You know where Gaius's room is. Let's have a quick look at Gaius's inventory. There's a lot of shit in Gaius's inventory. There's booze, cigarettes.
Like I said in the message, he's a military asset. He knows about weaponry. And
Yeah.
he knows that a soldier is only as good as their weaponry. So he's going to prioritise stuff that goes bang.
Yeah, there's a lot of weapons and some armour as well. So I'm assuming you'll go for that.
Yep.
There's other stuff that might be considered combat gear, but isn't weapons or armour.
No, he's focusing on armour and weapons.
Okay, so I'm just going to assume you're taking all the armour and weapons. Anything else, chems, tools, bits and pieces, I'm going to ignore, unless you say otherwise. Let me think, that would probably take a few
Not
minutes.
clever enough to be able to work out what the chems are, so he'll ignore them.
Okay. Okay, so just gonna put you. So you've passed Canny's room. I think Canny's probably got his own stuff, hasn't he? This is Gaius's room. So where you are now, you know that the only room west of you is Siegfried's quarters, and then at the far end of the building on the east, there is all the secondary characters' equipment.
Once I've filled up what I can with Gaius' stuff, I'll have a rummage through Siegfried's as well. He doesn't really know him as well, but he'll have a look anyway and get some shit out.
Okay, let me see what Siegfried's got. Fucking Siegfried's got some right weird shit. 15 meters of string.
Wow.
2 candles, light blue, with candle lighter. 2 sandlurker eyes, rotten to mush, that are about 9 months old. He's got lots of trophies, Siegfried. He's a hunter, isn't he? So,
Come in handy, you never know.
you never know. Yeah, there are some weapons here as well.
It's like the standard D&D adventuring kit. Everybody always used to spend the rest of their starting money on shit like chalk and fucking
And never use it.
bearing and stuff, and never use it. But they're handy just in case.
Yeah.
A sheet of paper, which was fucking useless because nobody ever took read and write.
Yeah, Siegfried's got a fair amount of weapons and armor as well.
Again, he'll just do what he can. He'll find some sort of container or bag or something and just fill it up as best he can with shooters and stabbers.
What I'll do is, when I do this properly, I'll go through everything and think, would slab take that? You know, for everything, and because there might be a couple of military-ish things here and there that aren't weapons and armor. I'll worry about that later. It's not like you're going to use any of this shit, is it? Because they're not ogre-proof.
You can't use them anyway. It's just stuff to him that he knows people will want.
So after you've finished Siegfried's room, what's the plan then?
So we'll do Hannibal's, then Gaius, then Siegfried's. Canny's getting his own gear. Spring's getting her own gear. All the other minor NPCs are getting their own gear. He doesn't really know anybody else, so we'll go.
Okay, right. So at that point, Ted's still gathering stuff. I'll head down to the basement with Canny and Spring.
Going to get some ice cream.
Oh, apparently what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder that I didn't need. Service level. Alan. In the service level you go. Okay, so you should be able to see the map. Canny?
I cannot see the map.
You've got no vision again. Why does that keep happening? There you go. What about now?
That's fine. That's sorted it.
Okay, you head down the stairs. Make an awareness test, please, as you get down the stairs.
That's
Okay. There is a strong smell of iron in the air as you reach the bottom of the stairs, and it excites you, Canny. You are aware that the kitchens are down here. You are also aware that the storage room, where the many bodies of the PowerPoint presentation soldiers that were killed months ago are stored frozen. They're down here as well. And all these things interest you, Canny, and they all excite you, but there is the smell of blood upon the air. And as you get to the bottom of the stairs with Spring at your side, and she's babbling away about some nonsense or other like normal, you look to the cells which are south of your position. And you notice a couple of things. The first thing you notice is that all 6 cell doors are wide open.
That's probably not good. That Spring.
The other thing you notice is that cell 4, which is Gladstock's door, The door is off its hinges on the floor.
Oh, well. Guess we didn't need to worry about leaving Gladys behind.
I'll have a closer look. Is this
Okay.
one?
Yeah.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
I'm going to knock on the wall.
Okay, you peer in
I
and
was going to draw my cleaver.
one thing you notice as well as you look into this particular cell is it looks bigger than it should be able to be. From the outside, all these cells look to be, maybe 3 meters square, but this one looks almost twice as long as it should. And there is a writing desk in here, and there are a stack of books on the desk that you don't remember Gladstock having when he was first put in here. His bed, which is quite a crude, simple thing, has some very nice blankets on it. There's a nice upholstered chair in here. There's no sign of Gladstock. Make an awareness test, please, to plus 20. Slab and Ted, could you both make awareness tests at plus 10, please? As you peer around the room, Canny, you notice how well this place appears to be upholstered. Better kitted out than you'd expect a cell to be, than you know the cells were. You notice that the ceiling is like a spider web of cracks radiating from the inside out. And through all these cracks, you can see this pale bone-like substance. And you hear a sound. You hear the sound of something being knocked over somewhere outside the cell. Over to the west.
I shall investigate.
Oi! Who's there?
I am, says Spring.
Not you. Shut up. I'm listening. Enough of this fucking nonsense from Slab.
Ted, as you go about your business collecting all this stuff together, in a number of the rooms you start to notice these cracks getting worse and worse. At one point you actually see one begin to form, split open and shed some of this bone-like dust and reveal the bone-like material behind the plaster. And you're starting to think that, maybe you're right, maybe this place is coming apart.
Just going to mutter to himself, this goddamn material, I'm not impressed.
Oh, thank
I
you.
love Ted.
With some alien non-stick.
Non-stack.
A new combination of words. I don't know if it's been used before, perhaps. Or maybe this is the first time.
The non-stack. Okay, Dave, are you back yet? No, he's not. Right, so Canny, you hear this sound coming from down to the west. And what you know is down here, by the way, is there's Mrs. Kitchen over to the east. There is a few rooms down here of note. There is the room that Slab was cryogenically frozen in, the Slab's garden, which is this place here. There's the laundry. There's a couple of armory rooms that don't actually hold anything. This place was built to hold a lot more people than it currently holds. There is the storage room with all the meat. There is a workshop that's been given over to Silas for when he's here. There is Big Bone Les's armory. There is Ted's workshop. There is an old servants' quarters, like dining meeting area that very rarely gets used. And of course, there's Venetta's quarters, the generator room, and Venetta's workshop. And you know that that's all west of you right now. And the sound you heard is somewhere to the west.
Okay. I'll check the meat room first.
Okay,
that's
here.
Actually, no, I'll probably best I just do it systematically, I guess. But systematically, I'll go to the meat room first, and then I'll maybe come back. So this one.
Okay, Spring's sticking with you. You open the door to this room. It's very cold in here. This is a refrigerated room, and there are still all these bodies, which for some reason have all shifted off the racking that I lovingly placed them all on many months ago. They're stripped of armour and gear and clothing. They're all naked. They're all frozen. And as you come in, I'd like you to make an awareness test, please, at plus 20. Dave, are you back yet?
Yeah.
Oh, pardon me. Pass. That seems strange. That can't be right. What have I done there? But yeah, I don't think that's a pass. Oh.
Dave, can you give me a plus 10 awareness check, please?
What's that?
What's going on with what can't be right, Alan?
My roll was a fail, not a pass. I've failed on an 82 with that awareness test.
How did you
I
get
did 20 to it twice. I put the 20 into there's a little box.
Oh, the little box, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I did wrong.
Okay, Slab.
Oh, fucking hell.
Slab, as you're gathering all this equipment, you notice that there are more and more cracks beginning to form in everything. Chunks of plaster are occasionally falling off. Not big ones, but, it's still concerning. Some maybe the size of a fist. You get the impression that maybe
Human
Ted was
fist or
right.
my fist?
A human fist.
That's nothing.
But slowly everything does seem to be coming to pieces. Canny, you look around at these bodies, and one of them you realise has what looks like a chunk ripped out of it. And as you go over and examine it, you realise that the chunk of meat that has been torn from the thigh of this guy that's been in here for months is on the floor, and it's just a big frozen lump of flesh. Looks like it was bitten off and spat out, maybe.
And he's going to shout to Spring and say, "Go check them 2 rooms back there, Springers."
Where do you mean? You just indicate on the map.
So we went past. So we went past 2 rooms which are here and here.
Yeah.
So I went straight to the meat chamber. And while she's off checking them rooms, I'm going to pick up this chunk of meat and just give it a little nibble myself.
Okay.
See what's the issue here.
As you head back in, Spring opens the door to the north and she goes, "Oh, look, there's me best pants." And she walks off inside this room. Just give me another awareness check, please. A straight awareness check, please, Canny, as you pick up this chunk of meat. As you raise the frozen chunk of meat to your mouth, you pause for a moment and look at it. And it's maybe like the size of a good sized piece of ham, a good sized ham joint, and it looks like it's been bitten off. But then when you look carefully at it, you see that the edges of the wound where it's been torn clear, they don't look like teeth marks that have bitten this off. It looks like dozens and dozens of tiny mouths, each full of tiny little teeth, have chewed this lump of flesh off.
I don't know. I think Kenny knows what Gladstock's about.
Yeah, you've got a pretty good idea. Yeah, you don't know exactly because, to be fair, none of the players know exactly everything about Canny.
Yeah.
But about Gladstock, sorry. But Canny could probably figure out that it's him.
Yeah, I knew it. On the trail.
So I'll take the chunk of meat with me. Is there any sort of convenient trail of blood or anything?
Nope.
Or I feel like I'm on the trail now, so I'm going to start. We're going to head off and start looking at some other rooms periodically. I guess we'll carry on down there. I'll comes in Spring and say,
"You right back there, my love?"
Hang on, just wait a second. I've just realised the whole map. You know, I said the bodies had moved.
whole map's moved.
The whole map has moved. That's what it is.
So you probably accidentally
Yeah.
They did it across and all the bodies were just fine. I've done that one before.
Oh no, it's really weird. The lighting map. It's the lighting map is off center. It's not on the grid anymore. That's bizarre. Oh no, it is in some places. That's even weirder. Holy shit. Right, okay. Let me see if I can line this up. Just a moment. Right, that looks a little better. So excuse me a moment, Alan. I'm going to have to move you off the map.
No worries, buddy.
Something's gone horribly wrong. I'm getting really fucking pissed off with the changes that they've made to how Roll20 does stuff. I used to be able to drag markers off one map onto another, and now when you do that it just merges the maps into a folder. It's really annoying. Anyway, right, let me see if I can get hold of this bit of map that's wildly wrong. There we go. Right. This might be a little imperfect because I'm doing it on the fly, but it'll do. I'm so happy I built these walls modular. I knew that would pay off. There we go. Right, there we go. I've rebuilt that. I'm going to put you back on the map. There was a weird glitch in a wall there that if I'd tried to rectify it with you on the map, you would have ended up seeing all of it, which I don't want. Okay, so where you are now, Al, there is kind of a junction here. You can see... Wait, what's this? No, there isn't. It's fucked me over again.
Yeah, I think I can see something there that I shouldn't be able to see.
It's drawing on multiple layers at the same time. Honestly, what the fuck is Roll20 doing?
Busting your balls, mate.
Technology, man. This is what happens when Venetta's not here.
Out of your Roll20, mate. I think your PC's cursed.
Right, how's that? Let's have a look at that. It was working a minute ago, but it changed.
Right. That?
So you're at this junction now. Springvox is back to you. She goes, yeah, I'm good. I just found some of my best pants in the laundry room. Just grabbing them. Don't want to leave them behind.
Yeah. You'll need them. It's important to have your best pants.
Canny, you're at this junction here, so the corridor continues along to the west. You know that west of your position are the workshops, Ted's workshop, Venetta's workshop, Venetta's quarters, the generator room, things like that. There is this corridor here that heads south. There is also a corridor north of you, up here, which it leads to the armory. Actually, that's not right. It's the armory, Les's armory, and you see, Les used to leave his door open all the time, and he got told off for it. And he used to just be like, "Fucking come in, help yourself." And then he got told he had to check who was coming in and what people were taking. And ever since then, he's kept the doors shut and locked. And you notice as you get to the junction that the door is open to Les's armory.
Right, I think that's curious. I'll go and investigate the armory then. So how do I get to there then, from here?
Straight north.
It looks like that's a wall to me.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be. That's part of the map that's gone a bit too lally.
Yeah. So it looks like a wall on my screen. So
yeah, I don't know what's happened there. So you see there's this door here, and there's a window next to it. That's normally the checkpoint for the armory. This is where Les was told he had to stop people and hand things out, but the door is wide open.
Oi! I'm going to shout. I'll wander in.
Okay, make an awareness test, please. Okay.
Ooh, I'd like to use Fate Point for May to bad +10.
Okay. And as you reach the door and you call Oi, you don't hear any response, but there is this smell of blood in the air, Canny.
Blood. Okay.
Meanwhile, Ted, you've gathered all the bits and pieces that you need for what you were instructed to do. What would you like to do with them?
Well, let's start putting shit together.
Okay, so you're heading back to your workshop.
Yeah.
Okay, you head back downstairs. You head into the basement. As you get to the bottom of the stairs in the basement level, you're a little startled all of a sudden as you hear this yell, this "Oi!" And you look to your north, and you know your workshop is right near the armory. And you see the door to the armory is open, and through the window you can see Canny working his way in, peering into the armory. I'm just going to put you onto that map, James. Slab, you've gathered everything together from. Let's not use the word principal characters. You've gathered all the bits and pieces from the people who aren't here.
The others.
For the others, and you're heading down. Are you heading back down? Are you? Where are you heading? Tell me where you're heading.
To the main door at the front.
Okay. So James, I'm just going to put you on there, give you some vision. You should be able to see.
And I'll grab my knife out of the wall on the way past it as well.
Okay. Okay, so Ted, can you see the map?
One sec.
Can you see it, James?
Yes.
Right, so Canny is north of you. That's the armory. Your workshop is this room here. You should be able to see me clicking.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just going to put Slab somewhere
Here.
reasonable. Okay, so yeah, so Slab, you Vasquez has reappeared now. What the fuck is going on? So yeah, Slab, you return down here. You see all the guardsmen waiting for the rest of you to turn up, and Ferinus suddenly goes, "Oh fuck, Missy and Thomas."
Oh, good.
How convenient.
Where are they?
They'll be down in the kitchen, mate. East End.
I'll drop the bags, indicate that these fuckers should do their keep and carry them, and then go and find them.
Okay. From where you are, you've probably been here long enough, and you'd have been here before the game started to know the fastest way down to the basement from where you are. So I'm going to just put you on the basement level as you head downstairs. This is all kind of happening simultaneously anyway. And you are going to be... Ted, what are you doing? Are you...
Well, presumably, I was just going to head to my workshop and put everything together.
Okay.
Presumably, and that's where the servitor is.
Yep. So you can head in there. This bit here, by the way, is not a wall. That is the mystery wall that's appeared that shouldn't be there. But this is your workshop.
And that's the servitor.
No, that's
Right.
Ted's headless buddy. It quite clearly says that.
Tedless.
Very good.
And Slab, you're going to be just coming down the stairs about here. Okay, so Ted, you start getting all the bits and pieces out, and you start trying to create the combination of equipment that Alyssa showed you. I'll ask you for some rolls in a moment, but before we do that, let's just... You should be able to see Slab.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're in the wall for some reason. I don't know why. All right. So at this point, Canny. So yeah, there's no response down here in Fat Les's armory, but you do smell that oh so familiar smell of iron in the air. What are you going to do?
Drawn. Oh, he's drawn like a moth to the flame.
Yep. Oh, Dave, just by the way, this wall here is the mystery wall. I'm telling everyone is not really there. I don't know why that's appeared.
Blood.
Oh, hang on a second. I've done something weird.
Surely not.
Okay. Slab, as you're walking down the corridor, you see Spring emerge from a door further along, and she's got a pair of pants in her hand. They're purple, if anyone's interested. They're not particularly skimpy. I know that it would only be Johnny or Hayden asking that question, but they're not particularly skimpy. They're respectable pants. Spring's not that sort of girl. Yeah, pretty much. Spring pops open a door, and she turns to you, and she gives you a big smile and a wave. Canny, you walk into the armory, and straight away you see some stuff. And as you see this stuff, the mansion shudders. Oh, where's my cursor gone? There it is. And all of you start to notice that wherever you look, you're starting to see cracks forming in the walls, becoming like a spider work in the plaster, in the floor, in the ceiling. You also notice that the equipment, the shelves, anything like that you're near, isn't cracking. It just seems to be the actual structure of the building. Paint, wallpaper, carpets, bizarrely, seem to be cracking, crumbling to dust, which swirls in tiny eddies in the air and dissipates to nothingness. In its wake, you start to see this pale bone-like material that a couple of you have noticed appearing more and more frequently. The cracks begin to spread, widening and deepening, and there is a cold spreading through the mansion. The mansion shakes again, more violently this time. Objects fall from shelves, especially you notice this, Canny, in the armory. Everywhere you are, tables, light fittings begin to rattle. Some lights go out. Machinery makes strange clunking noises as gears slip. And Canny, you see over by this shelf where some of the equipment, some of the weapons are, there is this small pile of bones on the floor. Maybe a dozen or so very small bones, and then a slightly bigger bone, and another slightly bigger bone which looks like it's been snapped. And there is a trail of blood that leads to the door east of you, which you recognise as the door to Leslie's private quarters. What are you doing?
I'll draw my cleaver. I shall head to this door. I shall open it.
Go for it.
Oh no.
What's going on, Les?
Les is not going to answer you. On the floor, in the middle of Les's workshop, he lies twisted into an awkward pose. He lays on his chest, but his open eyes are staring at the ceiling. His head has been twisted almost 180 degrees. His skull is misshapen and bloody. His nose is mushed across his face. One of his arms lies at an impossible angle and seems to have far more joints than you would expect a human arm to have. His left leg is, like his neck, twisted the wrong way round. His foot facing in the wrong direction. His right leg is missing entirely. He lays in a large pool of blood. The small table and chairs nearby have been smashed to kindling. Make an awareness test at +20, please. There's blood on the walls, splatters of it here and there, and the wall is cracked and dented in places around where the splatters of blood are, and you see the cracks forming in the plaster. You get the impression, Canny, that someone has picked up big boned Les and smashed him around the room repeatedly, bouncing his head off the walls.
Oh, fucking Les! No, not Les. Oh, it's worker Gladders, I'm sure.
On the desk, there is a data slate. It is on. There is a picture upon it.
Have a close look.
There appears to be many pictures here on this data slate, but the one that is like brought to the fore of the screen is a picture of Inquisitor Antonia Mesmeron in the buff, getting out of the shower.
Fucking hell, Les. Mate.
So we saw Les at dinner. He was at breakfast.
It was at breakfast, yep.
Okay.
Fucking hell.
There's also, you can see as well, Canny, you know enough about the data slates by now to know that you can work them in a basic way. You can see there are many more pictures, not just this one of Mesmeron naked.
Okay, I'll just I'll take that later. I'll take that. It might be evidence. Data slate. Les's dirty data slate.
Everyone in this fucking house is a fucking pervert. Line weapons, randy weapons, more like.
Data slate. Naughty pics.
Okay.
Where's the is there another door here? Where's that go to?
You can open it if you want.
Sure. Annie will not eat a bit of Les. Not that fond of him. I'll have a look in here.
It's clearly Les's bedroom, and it smells really bad.
Yeah, I bet it does. I bet it does.
I'm not going to explain what it smells like, but I'm pretty sure you can maybe picture
Wow.
it.
I
Shit
might,
and semen.
I might
Pretty much.
be able to. Let's see. Yeah, that's probably the same reason why I'm not consuming of Les. It's probably the first NPC who has died that I've not had a nag of. We shall... so, this kind of... Is there any sort of... I'm looking, obviously, I think Gladders have been here, Dave. I'm going to look to see if there's any way I can track him, if I, on the assumption that it was him.
Do you have tracking or anything like that?
No, nothing like
Okay.
that. I'm just going to... I think let's see what I've got. I'm just going to see if I can find any evidence of where he was or what he was doing. Let's see what I do have. It's just awareness, really, I think. Let's see, awareness, scrutiny. I do have search. So I've got awareness and search, but no
Okay, so search should be more for
survival.
searching the body or the room.
Yeah.
Awareness, you've already made an awareness test, really good awareness test. You get the impression that Les has maybe been picked up and swung around the room, and Les is a big guy, you know. Les is getting on for your size in some ways, but he's got less muscle than you. He's more fat, and he's got some augmetic arms. It looks like he's been swung around, smashed off the walls, and then his leg has been ripped from him. And then there is this trail of blood outside and this small pile of bones. And you piece all that together and you realise that the bones that are outside in the armoury might be Leslie's leg bones.
Yeah, I guess old Gladys just simply had to have a bit of leg. I'm more of a breast man myself.
Right, so I'll comms into everyone else. Say,
Les is dead.
Okay.
comms into everyone.
At that point, you hear Canny tell you all on the comms that Les is dead. Does seem that the intermansion comms are still working, by the way. Slab, just before that happened, Spring has just opened up this door and peered inside. And then she turns to you and she goes, "Oh, all right, big guy. Where are you up to? What are you up to? Where are you off to?"
Got to find Missy and the boy.
"Oh, right. Yeah, they'll be probably in the kitchen, ain't they?" And she takes your hand and she begins to walk with you to the east towards the kitchen. Ted, you've just laid out all the components on your workbench as you hear the call from Canny.
Oh yeah, can I also come say,
Oh yeah, and Gladys is loose. I'd shot if I were you.
Who is
He's
Gladys?
hungry.
Who is Gladys?
Yeah, I mean it's a long story. Les was one of us. Gladstock, he's fucking. Yeah, I mean where to even begin with that one? But he's dangerous.
Simpleton.
Simpleton Gladcock.
Yeah, thanks for your input, Slab. It's very fucking helpful.
You realise that there's no response from the rest of the team in the mansion. None of the soldiers have responded. Slab has. Spring says, "I mean, good. Gladys is out. It's great. He's back. He's the best, isn't he? Gladys. He's a good lad."
Oh, he's gone wrong.
"No, he
Why
ain't.
we locked him up, Spring? I mean, he's. I think he killed Les, Spring.
Don't be stupid. He won't kill Les. And if you remember correctly, he volunteered himself to be locked up."
Yeah. But then he must have volunteered to break himself out as well.
Well, if he did, then somebody volunteered to break the other cunts out as well. As you passing the cells Slab with Spring, she's still holding your hand, skipping along at the side of you like a little girl. She says, "Because all
Who else
these
did we
fucking
have in
cells
there?
are open."
who did
Okay,
we have in ourselves?
so you had Paolo Hampton, who is the
He's dead,
husband of Martiana Hampton, who was the
I
guy
saw his,
responsible for bringing the Gene Stealer in. You also had Gen Ravakian, who was a hulking mutant that Gaius arrested and brought
I
here
saw
for
both
questioning.
their bodies on the way past, though, didn't I? I saw like when I went past them open doors.
Yep.
They looked like they were dead to me.
They were dead in the cells, yeah.
Okay.
So Slab, as you look in these cells here, by the way, the first two that you pass, there is this very small, weaselly little man, quite an elderly man, looks like he's maybe in his 60s, but very frail. He's just laying there dead, staring up at the ceiling. The second cell, there's this hulking great, clearly mutant, with a few what look like augmetics, cabling, stuff like that. But it doesn't connect to anything. You get the impression that he's had augmetics removed. His left arm from the elbow down is missing, but there are some loose cables and sockets, and his right leg is the same. The third cell, there is just this foul smell from the third cell, and you see the room is just coated with gore, dried gore, as though something has been crushed. Some living creature's been crushed. The fourth cell is empty, as is the fifth and sixth.
So have we got any prisoners unaccounted for apart from Gladstock?
No. You only had 3, 4? You had 4, including Gladstock. One was killed by Ferinus, who accidentally killed, one of your leads, and the other 2 seem to have recently died. Slab, you open the door, and I'm going to come back to you in a moment. Ted, in your workshop, I would like you to give me your first tech use roll. Hang on a sec. Let me just make a note.
Before I crack on with this build, how easy is it to add a kill switch or have some kind of way of shutting down the servitor in an emergency?
Absolutely, that is something that could be done, but it's not something you've been given the knowledge of doing. And also, it's not something that she's told you to collect. So basically, what's happening here is you're not having to use the right trade skill because you've been given the knowledge of how to do this.
Right.
So that's circumventing the trade skill. It is something that could be done ordinarily by someone with the right trade skill and the right equipment, but you're not in that position at the moment.
Okay, no.
So, Ted. So you're at your workbench at the moment. You begin to assemble these components in these. It's really strange. It's almost like you're being guided by the Omnisire himself. You don't know how to do this, and yet you do. And you begin to spot weld and solder and attach devices to one another, an assortment of components. I'd like you to give me a tech use test at -10, please, for the first one.
If you pity the fool, you get +10 to your roll. Just a well-known fact that.
So, machine savvy +10 tech use for unfamiliar tech.
Yep, that would apply.
Okay, cool. So it's a straight roll.
Oof, sweet. Just going to go and have a quick wee. Back in a sec. Okay. Right, so Ted, you begin to assemble all these components. You do really well. You assemble them very quickly, following Alyssa's bizarrely accurate instructions. You almost feel like she's guiding your hands. And within less than a minute, you've got these like half dozen components arranged into what looks like a kind of a hat is the best way to describe it. There's like a Vox speaker, a set of night vision goggles, a few other bits and pieces, various components that are all arrayed around these metal bands that have been assembled by your hands to very specific tolerances. And then there is one final thing that she asks you for as part of this design, and that is to take the blue crystal MIU from your pocket that was once in your head, and she wants you to solder this onto this device at a certain point and then place this thing like a crown upon the head of the combat servitor in your quarters.
Okay.
And we'll come back to that in just a moment. Canny, what are you up to?
I was leaving the armory, heading back out into the corridor.
Okay.
So I never found the source of this noise off in the west, did I?
Nope.
So I'm going to continue searching. I'll try the next room along. Is that there? See some people?
Yes, you see Ted's in here. Ted's not.
Ted?
Yeah. Ted's actually not. Oh yeah, you can't see his name, can you? For some reason. Ted's actually not right there. He's more like over here by the workbench, working on stuff. You see, there is this slack-jawed combat servitor just inside the door there.
Shut Ted. There's a killer on the loose.
Alright, when you leave,
head out.
danger.
Hey. Oh, sorry, mate. Your fucking accent, it's contagious.
I'll shut the door behind me, as he asks, and I'll head over to the next room along.
Okay. Nothing much in there. Looks like another cold storage room, but it's currently powered down.
Fuck you know.
Okay, like I say, I'm going to carry on searching room by room, Dave.
Okay. All right. Back at the other end of the mansion. Slab.
Yeah.
What are you doing there? You can see through the wall, can't you, for some reason?
I can see a little bit of a gap there.
Yeah, that's weird.
As I'm walking along past all these empty cells and realising they're dead bodies and shit in them, I shall get a weapon ready.
Okay. That's better. I don't know why that was open, but anyway. Yeah, there you go.
I shall get a hammer out.
Okay.
This is the kitchen, isn't it? If
Yep.
I remember right.
Yeah, directly east of you now. As you open the door, there are two figures standing in front of you. One of them is very familiar, dark-skinned, boisterous, voluptuous almost, but very short figure of Missy. The other is wearing a long trench coat and a wide-brimmed hat that is pulled down low over his face, and he's handing something to Missy. I'd like you to make an awareness test, please. Slab? Okay. Missy sees you over the shoulder of the former Mr. Gladstock, and nods at you. And she moves away towards her kitchen, and she places whatever it is she's been given on the side, and she pulls a knife from knife block and begins chopping. And Mr. Gladstock turns and faces you. And he says to you, "Ah, Slab. Nice to see you again. I understand you may be concerned that I am no longer in my cell. Don't worry about it, my dear boy. I realize you were probably instructed to keep me in there, but it's no fault of your own that the door just fell off its hinges. So don't feel bad about that, will you, my boy?"
You need to get back in your cell.
Of course. All in good time, my dear Slab. I was just a little peckish and thought I'd pop along here and see Missy, just to get myself a quick snack. You understand, I'm sure.
You alright, Missy?
Missy looks at you. Give me an awareness test at plus 20. Missy nods, goes back to chopping the meat. She's fine, Slab. He takes a couple of steps towards you. He sees Spring hiding behind you. He says, "Ah, Spring, my dear. Lovely to see you out and about too."
As he starts walking towards me, I'll activate my Vox. Can't fucking talk at all tonight. And I'll conspiratorially say into it, "So what are you doing in the kitchen, Mr. Gladstock?"
I'm gonna ask for a deceive roll just for a laugh for this. I think it feels very fitting. Mr. Gladstock is a very, very perceptive chap, so it only feels fair. All right. As you surreptitiously activate your Vox, there is this click, whee! That awkward whine of feedback that's on every TV show. Whenever someone speaks into a microphone, that happens just as you do that. Gladstock cocks an eyebrow. Let's see if he actually genuinely notices, though. Oh, he does. And he says, "Oh dear, Slab. You shouldn't have done that." I'm gonna ask you all to roll initiative, please. Wait, no, don't do it just yet, because everyone's on here. That's shit. Wait a minute. I need to store this other combat for the other fight.
Lab is a master of cunning.
Ah, no, it's too late. I fucked it. There we go. Okay, select your token, please, and roll initiative. And I genuinely have no idea how this fight's going to go.
Badly.
Yeah, but for who? What's your agility, Slab? Oh, I'm pretty certain Gladstock goes before you.
Yeah, 30 I'm on.
What you got, Ted? James?
What?
Initiative?
Wait, am I rolling? I'm putting shit together.
Yeah, but you might feel the urge to get involved.
No. After he says that, Mary, Do you need assistance?
What was that, robot Scottish James?
I said, do you need assistance?
You don't know what's going on yet. Well, you do. You heard Slab say what he said over the surreptitious, not so surreptitious Vox link.
Well, there's no fucking answer. I'm building fucking heat.
I still need an initiative roll off you.
I'll play your game.
You're fucking right, you will.
You literally are.
You don't get to just turn up and toss it off in the workshop, James. Okay, cool. Canny, your combat senses, your danger senses, your situational awareness is very good. You've heard Slab down the corridor. You can see Spring down there. And Spring, you know, she's a mate, isn't she? You know something bad is happening down there. It's the top of turn one.
Cool. It's 10 o'clock though, by the way, Dave.
I know.
Yeah, but what I'll do is, first thing I'll do is I'll comms into all the other the military squad we got upstairs. I'm gonna go,
I want all fighters down here at the kitchen now. It's Gladstock. Get moving sharpish.
and then I'm gonna pop an adrenaline and I'm gonna sprint to the east. So I think that gives me +3 agility, is it? Or
Yeah.
Oh no, +2. So +2 agility. That give me a total of 6, which would give me a run of 36, is it?
Something like that, I think.
Yeah, so I shall run for my turn. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, and I need to take a toughness test for the
The adrenaline.
yeah, for the adrenaline. Oh no, it's when it wears off. Oh no, I can only activate. I first need to check. I've not been rolling for my earlier tests.
I'm not bothered about it when you're out of combat, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, doesn't really make much sense to give a shit about that out of combat. So.
Yeah, I passed my toughness test. So yeah, so I shall sprint. I shall comms for reinforcements and order everyone down here who can hold a weapon, and I shall sprint. And that's
Okay, cool. Ted, you've heard the warning. You've heard Canny call for assistance. You're there assembling this item. You've pretty much got it all together. All you've got to do is plug in the MIU chip, give it a spot weld, pop it on the servitor's head. But what are you doing?
Can I estimate how long that's going to take?
It's probably going to take in terms of combat, it's probably going to take a couple of turns to spot weld the chip into place, and then it's a case of just going and equipping it on the thing. You've got everything ready in your hands, basically. So.
I'll just go, fuck's sake, and I'll run off out the door.
Okay.
Hammer time.
I can't get out there.
What do you mean you can't get out?
What a fucking saying.
You can't get out the fucking door, you dirty wee shite. Why can't you open the door? Oh, there you go. Half an action to open the door.
Right, so... how does that work with runs and stuff?
So you wouldn't be able to run. You'd have to walk to the door for half an action and open the door for half an action. If you've got any movement left from your half action of walking, you could. So, say for example, you need to move 2 meters. If your move is 3 meters, you could go 2 meters, open the door, move another meter.
I reckon my move is fucking 2.
It's about right for a little stunty.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna rethink my life and I'm gonna fucking build this shit because I'm too fucking slow.
Too slow to get into combat. His legs are too little.
Hey, you got wee stumpy legs. So what are you doing? Are you not leaving the room?
Tough, you, James.
Yeah,
Not like
I'm,
that,
just
Dave.
I'm just gonna build this shit. I'm gonna stay on target.
Okay.
It's gonna be forever to get there.
You're gonna have to toss me.
I'd have to move 4, and then next turn I'll open the door, move 2.
Okay. It's your choice. You can make the roll this turn or next turn.
Right, let's do it.
It'll be a tech use test. Straight.
Okay.
Okay. Using your combi tool, you successfully over the next 2 turns will attach that MRU onto this bizarre headdress that you've made.
Okay. Good luck, guys.
It's Mr. Gladstock.
Yeah.
Mr. Gladstock smiles at you, Slab, and you're not easily scared. But when Mr. Gladstock smiles at you, there is this creeping sensation that runs down your spine. Is Slab fearless or anything?
I don't think so.
Let's have a
Unless he's
look.
berserk.
Yeah, which is not at the minute, is he?
No, not yet.
It's a shame he's not a demon. You are better against demons, aren't you? Yeah, so he smiles at you. I'd like you to make a fear test, please. And I don't know if this has ever happened before, but I'd like you to make a fear test at minus... ooh, that's wrong. Minus 20, please.
Is that ain't going to happen? No, that should have been minus, but no, failed miserably. Need a 6.
Yeah, okay. So, that'll apply to you on your turn as he kicks in his fear effect, and you watch as the hat, the
Oh, well, fuck
suit...
it, I'm burning a fate point.
Okay, you still see this happen. The hat, the suit melt away to replace by this ragged, hooded cloak. And for just a moment, you catch a glimpse of his hands and his face that are made up of hundreds and hundreds of tiny, writhing, oily, metallic worms as he rushes at you. But you are now unfeared, so let me just make a note of that. He can do all sorts of strange things, but how many of them are applicable in combat? Okay. It's been a while since I've had Mr. Gladstock do anything. I think the last time he was in combat, he saved Gaius. Right, he's going to... 1, 2, 3. It's going to charge at you, Slab. And he's going to just basically grab hold of you with one hand. Which is... Is he ferocious charging? I don't think he is. No, he's not. So it's just a normal plus 20 charge, which is a hit. Would you like to try and dodge or parry?
Parry.
Is this with your... what is it with?
My hammer.
Okay.
Re-roll that.
It's probably for the best.
I'm going to die. There you go.
Oh dear. And Mr. Gladstock just grabs hold of you. He's quite tall, Mr. Gladstock. He's about 6'2", but he obviously you dwarf him. But he reaches up and he grabs you by the throat. And there's this little part of you for a moment, Slab, that thinks, "What the fuck?" And then he lifts you off the ground, and he's going to squeeze. So that's 19 damage. So 19 minus your armor on your, we'll call it your torso. Actually, no, where did he hit you? 18 on the arm. The holding you by the neck thing was just for effect. He hit you on the arm. So what's the armor on your arm?
4.
4, so that's 15. What's your toughness?
5.
5. Okay, so 10 damage to you. And it also does toxic. Which, toxic's a toughness test, I think.
Yeah, it'll be a minus 50, I think, because it's -5 for every point of damage.
Yeah.
And if not, he takes another D10, I believe. It bypasses armor.
Cheers, Al.
Correct. If I remember correctly, I'll go double check that.
-5 for every point of damage. Yeah, so that's another D10 damage.
Can you say 18 damage?
19, but then it's reduced by the armor and his toughness to 10.
Yeah, that's it. So, but yeah, it's no reductions for the
Yeah.
toxic.
Okay, so another 6 damage there, Dave. 16 damage total from Mr. Gladstock, and the speed and the strength with which he moves is startling, even to you, Slab. You've no idea what Gladstock is, and it is quite terrifying to behold him. Let me just check that that's right. Yeah, that is right, because he's got natural strength. There's something else he can do. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, he doesn't have any of his gear on him anyway. So that's Mr. Gladstock. What was that? 16 damage total. Mm-hmm. Okay. Missy shrieks. Oh no, I've missed you out. It's your turn. Slab.
Bang him one then.
Fucking bang him. I was once walking through Morrison's and there was these 2 chavvy lads. I was with Leanne and there was these 2 chavvy lads and I can't remember what they were saying, but they were being right obnoxious cunts. And one of them said something and I can't remember what I said. I said something to one of them and one of them turned to me and went, "What's your fucking problem? I'll fucking bang you in a minute." And I just went, "Gay!" And this lad was like really caught off guard, and he just fucked off. That's a hit. I'm going to try and.
Classics are the best, Dave.
I know.
I go right with the classics. They just don't get old.
I'm going to. I don't think I could parry. Well, technically could parry, but he's going to try and dodge you anyway. He does. Okay, he dodges to one side. Missy shrieks, throws herself over the kitchen counter. That's the end of turn 1. We'll leave it there.
Cool.
On a cliffhanger, like the old days.
Slap hanger.
Slap hanger.
All right, guys. Cheers for the game, guys. I shall see you next time.
Yeah. Catch you later.
Next week for mine then.
Yeah, your game next Sunday. Cool.
Yeah, cool.
And maybe by then we'll have news about Johnny.
Johnny, I remember Johnny.
Remember bad Johnny and good Johnny.
I
Red Johnny, yellow Johnny.
All the Johnnies, yes.
Grey
All
Johnny.
The Johnnies of the rainbow.
the Johnny Rainbow.
I'm curious. I wish Johnny was here. I'd be curious to pick his mind as to his position on the far right riots.
Oh God.
How do you feel? I'm so curious because obviously he's a bit far right himself, so I'm just curious to see how he stands.
Yeah, I mean,
Be interested to pick his brain on that one. So.
I'm pretty sure both him and Hayden would be cheering it all on.
Well, I don't know. I'll be interested. I'm interested to ask the question anyway. Anyway, guys, so I shall see you later, and ciao for now.
Yeah, catch you later.
All right, bye, guys. Bye.
Good night. I'm gonna dismantle Dave and retire to upstairs and do a bit of dark tide if you want to join me.
No, I've got work in the morning, mate.
Righty ho. I'll catch you later then.
See you later.
I don't know, James. I don't know when the next session of this is. I haven't looked at the calendar much, but I'll try and get you involved.
Cool.
Because obviously,
I've still got 5 days off.
All right.
And I've got a week off 17th till the 23rd of this month.
Okay, let me just make a note of that. Let me put you into the time and space planner.
I'll send you a screenshot.
Hang on a sec. I've got my calendar here. So you're off when? The 17th. Ah, yeah. I've already got you marked in as that.
Cool.
So you must have just sent me that originally. Yeah. So obviously we don't know what's going on with Johnny at the minute because he might be. If he does get this team leader job, it's going to